and welcome to Super Geeks for the season finale of our Star Trek Discovery show, the Mycelial Network News, a name that Sunseal created that rolls off the tongue very badly, but it sounded cool at the time. With me today for this special finale is Larry Nemecek. Said your name right this time.
All right.
Welcome back, Larry.
Wow, that's a great start. Oh, wait, this is another visit. Okay, yeah.
Dr. Spock, Trekland, Larry, whatever you want to be called.
No, there was a guy named Dr. Spock. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Dr. Shrek, right? No, what is it?
Yes, that sounds good. Let's go with that one.
Let's go with that one. And also joining us for the first time from down under, the one, the only, Matt Miller. How you doing, Matt? Joining us, Mr. Trek Zone. Yeah, Matt. So welcome to the show. First time for you.
I'm Mr. Trek. I of course pass my hat to Dr. Trek. He's the official one. He's officially.
You went to school for 8 years.
Matt doesn't have the degree in it. 8 years.
Right.
Yeah.
We had some interesting drama on our TeamSpeak, so we switched over to Zoom. And you know what? This is turning into a fun episode. So this will be interesting.
Well, for us.
Yeah, for us. Also joining us today is the man who just spoke, Carlos Pedroza. How you doing, Carlos?
Ready for action.
And he salutes with his. You got to take your thumb and do this. Okay. Do it again.
I was concerned about how you were pointing that finger.
Yeah.
George.
Yeah. And also with us today is Raul. How you doing?
Yeah.
Raul. Yep.
Very
and,
timely this episode.
Yeah. Interesting so far. And Joe. How you doing, Joe?
9.7. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome.
Getting right to the point.
Oh my God.
Literally.
And then we
in fact.
Is that metric or English?
It's in the middle.
We prefer the term imperial.
Imperial.
Yes. And then we also have Casey. How you doing, Casey?
It's Latina.
I did let you know. I was talking about that some other.
Está aquí.
How you doing, Casey?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It's just a weird night, which is fine. I'm adaptable. And we also have Sunseal. How you doing, son?
I'm doing okay for contacting midnight and talking about the TeamSpeak thing.
Yeah, well, it's been, like I said, it's been an interesting night.
Yeah.
So we had this Discovery hit us with a. I was a little. I have to say, this was the best to me.
Hi, George. Thanks for introducing me. I appreciate that.
It's because we're in the pants zone this week.
Yeah.
Right.
With us today also is Harrison. How you doing?
What?
Okay. So, Sean, how you doing?
Look, Harrison is sound asleep in the backyard.
I'm sorry. I got the wrong.
Yeah, he's confused as fuck as to why we're in the middle of the desert in the dark while his brother's outside peeing on the tire. So,
Aren't we all?
Aiden.
Boy, I'm so glad this isn't recording.
Guest appearances.
Well, I'm still saying hi to Harrison, even though he's asleep. So, how you doing, Sean?
I'm outstanding, man. I'm not, hey, look, I want to point something out, okay? I am not just my lack of pants. I am a whole being, okay?
Just don't point the camera down a little lower. We don't want to see anything that will get us.
Well, you don't have to, like I said, you don't have to worry about that. Arizona Highway Patrol frowns upon me driving without pants, so we're cool tonight.
Oh, it's Highway Patrol, not hit points. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. The cops aren't in favor of hit points. No, not at all.
We got a little confused earlier with some of the abbreviations. I hate those. Like, oh my God, like WTF right now. That's kind of a. So, all right. So now that we've introduced everyone, I have to say this. I think this is the best season finale a Trek episode has ever made. I mean, I'm being serious. Larry, in your experience, give me the truth.
Wait. Are you guys taking selfies of the chat just to take selfies of the chat?
Huh?
Yeah, we can do it now. It's awesome.
Some of us have video on. Some of you don't, so...
This is scintillating audio. I just want you to know.
I'm curious. Am I coming in sideways?
No.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Here.
That's fine.
Let's do this then.
Totally sideways.
Sideways, Sean.
Now he's upside down.
Yep, this is better.
See, it's not just me. Just because I'm in Australia doesn't mean he's upside down.
Exactly.
No.
Waiting all
I'm
the
I'm accommodating
That's
I
for
tell you
our
what.
foreign guests.
That's weird, Matt, because on my monitor you are upside down.
That's under the options thing, probably. Oh my God. Harry.
I really think that the video for this should be included on,
Oh, it
on
will be.
the YouTube.
Oh yeah, it will be.
Holy crap.
But you'd have to have some audio to go along with it.
Well, that's what we're recording right now, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
Substantive
It's just
audio.
not significant, Larry. It's
Oh, I'm
just
sorry.
we're-
Substantive was the word. I heard.
substantive.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna
Right
just
here.
put in 90s club music and Mario Brothers music as the audio.
Oh, it's
That's all we
backwards.
need.
That's weird.
The jump cuts are going to be incredible.
That's all we need.
All right. So, yeah. So, Larry, what did you think as far as, like, I'm going to go on scene by scene, but in general, do you think you've obviously been involved with all the many of the treks of the 90s generation, and you have seen a lot of season finales. How do you think this one compares to the old one?
It's going to quickly start being apples and oranges a little bit. I mean, the season finale that everyone remembers is Best of Both Worlds, or you remember it if you were there, or you've listened to people talk about it if you weren't there. And that was a huge, huge, huge moment, and it was like an impact, and it culturally did things, and it's almost apples and oranges now because the scale and the budgets and what the CG can do and the storytelling and all of that. I would say, though, there have been some disappointing seasons because sometimes the season finales have been cliffhangers and sometimes they haven't been, right?
Yep.
I was madly thinking, I don't know about better, just blunt better and worse, but I think as far as what's had an impact on people, I want to say that this one and Best of Both Worlds have had the biggest impact. And Best of Both Worlds not only was like you were there, wow. Best of Both Impulse, where'd that come from?
Both Impulse engines, yeah.
Best of Both Worlds is what lit the fuse, and the next gen rocket just took off. It changed
the standards.
It changed everything. Yeah. It made everything different. It's when they started thinking about a second show. It's whatever all the other everybody else tried to do spin-off sci-fi and fantasy and genre stuff, but that's when that took off. And as far as the history of just Discovery, this is clearly the biggest impact that's been made. And then, yeah, like even the ending of the Zindi thing was like, okay, well they're trying, and
yeah,
the season now the series finales are a different critter. But as far as the season finales, and DS9 had the things that you went, oh my god, but they're going to war. Oh no, there's changeling loose on the station. Oh no. I mean, those were powerful, but I think, more people are, as much as people want to gripe about it, more people are watching Discovery than were watching Voyager or DS9 at the time. I think it's fairly safe to say.
Yeah. The numbers seem to support that.
So I would at least say I think this and Best of Both Worlds have had the biggest impact, and whether this is a bigger impact, I don't know yet, but it's clearly it's between the two of them.
It's going to be a game changer. In the case of both of these, I think, and I think you're right about that. Well, we have yet to see, but I mean, I think it's fair to say that it is going to be a game changer. Matt, what did you think as far as season finales go?
I thought it was really good that instead of following our crew at the end there, the writers have given themselves the time over the break to come up with something completely new instead of rushing it in to the final 5 minutes and trying to set that up. Which seems a little bit rushed, So at least this way, we have no idea what's going to happen. We know they're going.
I kind of do only because of the Alex Kurtzman has spoken since. But keep going. Sorry.
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, all we really know is that they're going to jump 950 years into the future.
It is, yeah, and they said 33rd century in the interview, but my calculations came to 32nd, so it's kind of weird. I don't know about that, but either way.
I want us to hook up with Daniels. Not hook up, but meet up.
Right.
God,
if you remember, though, when she was plotting the course at the end of that episode, she said 930 years.
She did, correct. You're right. You're right, but in the interview, the post interview, Alex Kurtzman actually said it. I don't know if he was just misidentifying the time period, but he said 33rd century, and I'm thinking according to all the calculations, it should be 30 years.
I'm going to go with what the script says because speaking as a producer, we forget things all the time. So we have people for that.
Right. So, so does that mean you think
you have your people call my people, and we'll sort something out?
Yeah, exactly.
Carlos Short is your people, isn't he?
Yeah. She did the
Damn
math.
right.
She said, I've got to account for 20 years, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to say
something about the start point versus whatever.
Where her mother started.
Yep. Raul, Raul, you just watched the episode a little bit earlier, right? So you're actually the freshest view. So what is your perspective on, as far as comparing season finales to other Trek season finales?
Personally, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Personally, I think it was the strongest one, even better than Best of Both Worlds, because it had more emotional resonance to the characters and in general, I believe. And it sets up the next phase of this discovery very well.
That's a good point. And I want not to jump around, but do we think that the reason why they're going do we think the reason they might be going this direction is because originally it was meant to be an anthology series and was going to cover different eras, and so this is their way of kind of like making the show.
That's an excellent.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's an excellent.
What do you think of that, Carlos?
No.
Honestly,
because it's a different writer's room. It's different people in charge. They're going to do what they want to do, which is what they think is best. They're not going to do it because 3 years ago somebody else had an idea. I mean, if it was a good idea, maybe they're following up on it, but they're not beholden to it. Right. So they're going with their best instinct story wise, and it's just because they're jumping into the future doesn't mean it's an anthology.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying with them taking that idea and making it their way, like as far as you can be in this era for these 2 seasons, and then they have an excuse story-wise to go and say, let's now go way farther than they've ever done. Because Alex Kurtzman mentioned something about that in the interview where he said, now we're going to be able to explore. We're no longer sort of, he didn't say the word beholden, but he said we're no longer restricted. That's what he used. To the canon, because now we can go beyond any of the canon. Our own
yeah, of course.
So that seems to be where, to me, the trajectory.
But that doesn't have anything to do with an anthology. That's just the way they.
No, all I meant was that the plan for the anthology, I feel like they took that.
That guy's not around anymore.
I know.
So.
I think the biggest thing with it, and Larry can fact check me here, but we're into the 4th or 5th.
He might even dox you.
4th or 5th.
I'm waiting. See if we can do visual.
Writers and showrunners. So there's been so many people that have had a hand in the overarching story of Discovery. And at the end of season 1, we were beholden to what season 2 was going to be because in those last 5 minutes they threw in the Enterprise and Pike and Spock and all of this other stuff. They did this at the end of season 1. Brian Fuller was long gone by that point, and they're having to backpedal and make all this work, which they made work. I ain't hating the show at all, but now they're at this point where we have a brand new slate. We have an entire season hiatus for them to come up with something else. And it's still going to be called Discovery. We're still going to have our 7 main cast and our ship. And that's it. Who knows what else we're going to get.
You know what Alex Kurtzman actually said in the interview was, he said he confirmed that control was neutralized, but he said that the threat they're going to face when they get to the other side of the wormhole is actually worse. So that could be anything. It could be the Borg, it could be anything.
Of course it's going to be worse.
They have to raise the stakes. Yeah,
don't worry, this will be better. So this is nowhere else but in whatever the situation or the landscape or the media or the business, whatever it is, nowhere does this, it's modern times. Maybe something's crazy happen, but my instinct is to say nowhere else does this happen but in Star Trek, where a show is launched into a situation where the original creator says, okay, I get to do the next Star Trek show, and there's this one thing that I've always wondered about, and my show is going to start off and talk about this one thing in our big universe of canon that we have in this big timeline, this big universe of stuff, and we're going to go to here and talk about it. Everybody goes, well, that's cool. I wonder what it could be. And then this whole thing is spun out, and in the middle of the spinning it out, it unravels, and you go through 1 and 2 and 2 and transition into 3, and then 3 starts in 4. It's almost like 2 or 3 things happen. A, yeah, they've outspun the original vision. B, they've gone through all the transitions. And number 2 was like, oh, no, we can write this ship. We can write this ship, and we're going to have a consistently good thing and do characters and do stuff. But we still need a crutch or 2 maybe, or maybe we just can't help ourselves, and we're going to lean on Spock and Pike. And who knew that Pike was going to be a bigger thing than Spock was?
That's a good point.
And it's now that, so it's almost like it's been 2 years of a shakedown cruise, and they're going, you know what? This whole thing about being 10 years for Kirk and Spock, it's hard, and we all want to go off and be crazy creative, and we want to turn our designers loose, and nobody wants to recreate a historical drama because half of the world is not seeing this as a historical drama. Half of the world thinks, sure, we're doing World War II, and we can change what the Germans' helmets look like. Yeah. Sure, we can do that. And we'll just call it World War II because we'll have all the dates and people. We'll have Patton, Eisenhower, and Monty and the years.
You're saying
like the real World War II.
So you're saying
after 2 years of that, they went, this is hard. Why don't we just go do let's just go do World War III. Okay, let's go do World War III. No one knows what that looks like yet. Okay, fine. And you know what? It's like good on them. Good on them. Plus, they've got Picard's show over here. They've got whatever else may come down the pike. No pun intended.
Oh, you should have intended it.
I think, yeah.
I see what you did there.
But see, it's almost like, the night I saw the show, Thursday night, we didn't know this, and the next day, it's like he was either planned or he ran into the breach and said, "Oh no, we're not leaving them out there." And it's no, we've got this cast and these characters, and now they're out there. So the bottom line to that was, we're going to put them out there where we have no strings attached. It's like we're not going to suddenly call our phasers Baziggas, you know. I mean, like, we'll still have a continuity of the ship, but other than that, we're in the far future. It's almost like Time Machine when he's running around with the future guys, not the
Daniels,
but the other guys, huh?
Not Daniels, not Hot Tub.
Daniels, not Hot Tub Time Machine.
That's a totally different machine.
Yes. But anyway, it's almost like with that revelation, the speculation is over. But now basically it's like you'll have the people go, you could have done this from the beginning.
Could have. Beginning, yeah.
Instead of lost in space, it could have been lost in time, and you're out there.
But do you agree with that, Larry? I mean, do you think that would have been a good idea from the get-go? Personally, I don't.
No. I mean, they after they had to answer they could have done it better, but they felt the need to answer the first show in 12 years. It's got to be grounded to something that people. Mm-hmm. No-ish.
Yeah.
Even
all right, let's.
The Picard show background only now.
Go ahead, Sean. You were going to say something.
I'm of the perspective that after the Klingon 2 dicks things, people said, "What the fuck is going on?" That Brian Fuller got this show approved.
Hey, Sean, just so you know, it's showing a message saying iPhone's network bandwidth is low, so you're kind of choppy. Just letting you know.
Okay, I'm trying to get to somewhere where it's better. But
okay.
I'm getting that they were trying to. Brian Fuller's show got green as we saw more or less in season 1. Okay. And it was changed along the way. And I think that if cooler heads had prevailed, or not cooler heads, but different heads had their way, they would have started the series way in the future like they're doing now. And they figured out a way in season 2 to take us down that road by bringing us a great story with great characters who we love, and doing what they kind of hoped what they realized they should have done from the beginning.
There we go.
I'm getting this feeling after just reading the article in THR, the interview with Alex Kurtzman. So that's it until I get better reception.
Well, we were able to.
Did anybody get that?
Yes, we did actually. I did.
Most of it.
Oh God.
Now, but all right. So
everything he said, I gave him a great reception.
Yep. I want to start breaking down the scene by scene thing a little bit. So in the first scene, the battle is set up. They used, now this is something that fans have been complaining about that are the purists. but I don't have a problem with it at all because I've always said that I like the way they're modernizing logically the technology that we would expect, which is that the use of drones, probes, and things like that for this battle setup. Like everybody kept saying, well, when did Enterprise become a carrier ship and have fighters? They didn't. They modified and repurposed some probes with weapons.
Since
right?
number one went off on a tangent and thought I should go do this.
Right.
And she had a line. It was 2 lines, but at least they covered it. They didn't come out of nowhere.
They didn't come out of nowhere, and it's very logical. The same with the repaired.
You could break down how the hell did she manage to do that off on her own with a crippled ship and blah blah blah. But at least they tried to give it lip service.
Yeah, I mean.
By the way, number one looks like Lana Del Rey. Does anybody see that at all?
No.
She looks like number one.
No. Well, yeah, of course to you, George. But,
you think Rebecca Romaine playing number one? That's what I see. I don't even know who you're talking about.
Woman from what was the I lost it.
You have to Google it.
It was the sci-fi show. It was. Come back to me in 5 minutes.
We'll get back to you.
So the battle gets set up, and the engineering team is trying to get Burnham's time suit, ready with the time crystal, and we get Jet Reno, who has been the breakout character this season. Her and Poe, the Queen. Oh my God! So they're getting that ready, and they're setting up the battle. And then one of the best quotes was, besides Saru quoting Sun Tzu, Giorgio says to Leland, "Everybody hates you. Congratulations on that." Oh my God! What do you guys think of that? Anybody that wants to pipe up first? Let's start with
they were literally arguing over making the suit. I mean, that seemed realistic in a hectic situation.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that the whole through line of starting in this scene and moving through the episode was everyone sort of working as a team and a well-oiled machine while everything's going to hell around them. And so this set that up and went, and I thought it went well. Everyone showed up well.
Yeah.
Overall, this notoriously started off as not notoriously, but this started. Oh, sorry for my sirens now. This started as a 1 hour. They expanded it to 2. And I really felt you could see that last week. It's like the goodbye. It really felt padded in a lot of it. It was fine. It was wonderful. It's like, oh my God, for once Discovery is stopping and having character moments. It was just so unlike the show to have 47 minutes of character moments in 1 hour. But
47 minutes of Burnham hugging Tyler.
Well, it was everybody's goodbye. And then they're not really
hugging is the right word.
And now we're really going to say goodbye. We're all going to say goodbye in a different way this time around. Okay, now, it's not really a goodbye again. Oh, now But, so it was this one. I mean, I thought this was fairly well paced, considering it felt like just the whole episode was really this hour, and the first one was the padded part. And wasn't this time like an hour and 2 minutes? What was the final?
An hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was a little longer than it normally. Yeah.
Which is
like
amazing.
Close to 20 minutes longer.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I did notice that because what I like about the streaming option is that it drops like 15 minutes after the hour, and it's like that's kind of a weird time for it to suddenly drop on CBS All Access, but it does. It's like if you keep refreshing
it only matters once, and then after that, it's out in the ages.
That is true.
Hey, just 2019 for us Australians, okay, we have to wait until midnight LA time to pick that up. That's 5 p.m. on the Friday.
All right. How long did you watch it, Matt? How long did
that's because of a technical issue, Matt, that we call neener.
It's the same thing on the continent and everywhere in the world. It's like midnight LA time. So like the UK is getting it at 8 a.m.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's
and you have to wait till 5 in the afternoon.
Remember, in the U.S., we have to pay extra for it.
Well,
we do. Oh, you're talking about for the non-commercial?
That's All Access.
No, I'm talking about for the no commercial option. I haven't got that option.
No, I'm talking about the fact that
just period.
It's on CBS All Access. Not
even if you got commercials, you're paying for it. Yeah,
I got you. Yeah. I got you. And so the shooting starts, and we get the classic. Now, here's 2 things I noticed before we go on about the sound effects of the TOS phasers. Wait, did
Really,
you?
that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to focus on
No,
that.
no. Did
I
you
would
guys-
like to talk about the ships first.
Hold on,
did
hold
anybody
on.
notice that they had like a Prometheus type ship as a Section 31 ship?
No.
The
From
assault, the
Voyager.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean-
that-
Oh, wait a
that
minute.
quad-
Oh, the
had
whole
the quad nacelles and the triangle
the
saucer.
pizza shape. The pizza shape.
Yeah, and then there was actually one that looked like it was a Miranda class with the same triangle saucer on it.
We'll let our not friends at Trek Yards break that stuff down. Oh, God.
Well, I mean, that's fine. Somebody should do that. But there's only so many ways you can stick shapes and nacelles and pylons together.
Yeah.
I mean, and everybody,
like half the other ships were ships that were just the hull and the nacelles and no saucer.
Well, at least they didn't accidentally make a Nebula class by dropping a model and having to piece it back together. You know what I'm talking about, Larry? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But
Meanwhile, back to the story.
Yes.
Yeah. So the emitters on the phaser on the hull of the Enterprise, I remember Alex Kurtzman worked on the JJ films, and I noticed that the emitters reminded me of the Kelvin phaser emitters, the exact look of them, in fact.
They popped up out of
popped up. You could see them, and they looked. They looked.
And they were blue.
Yay! They were blue. Like the NX-01s did, and like the Refit Enterprise did, and like that's one thing where I say if they had the money to do it, they would have done it.
Yeah.
In the 60s, kind of easy thing, a Trials and Tribulations type refit. No, I did see the emitters pop up, but I just was thrilled that they got into battle, and here come for one thing. Yeah, they were light blue. They had the sound. There's a debate about that. I thought when you could hear it, like the second time I listened,
when they closed in, you could hear it.
Yeah. When everything went away, so you could just hear that for a second.
Yeah.
But the fact that they were shooting off in pairs from fixed mounts at geometric places around the hull, and that they were light blue and that they were in pairs, but even more than all of that they were beams.
Beams, not
they
pulse.
They were beams, not pew-pews.
Well, I call them pulse.
That's the official terminology.
Yes.
Pew-pews.
George.
I did note that on Super Group. I felt it was an upgrade.
When you're kidnapped by Sean Pantless, it's also pew-pews.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole different.
I'm just using the thing. No, I mean, but when it was a big thing.
Even Discovery, Larry. Even Discovery had the beams.
Huh?
Even Discovery was using beams instead of pew-pews, as you would call it.
Well, it was just the total effect. It was the sound, it was the beam, it was paired, and it was a perfect example of, and it's like the ship has sailed. I don't argue this. If somebody asks me, I'll tell them. But after the first month or two, there was no point in arguing about visual canon because it was done. Unless you had a big reset or you had this jokey thing all through the season of Pike saying, rip out those holograms, and eventually, as you saw, the Enterprise interfaces were mostly switches and toggles and hard interface. I mean, they started with the shuttles and they brought it into this whole thing about visual canon and canon. It's like I've lost my train of thought. Damn it! Oh no, that the simplest thing of the light blue paired up phaser beams. It's like not asking for the world here. Can you just have Enterprise phaser beams that look like they fit in, even with allowing maybe 8 years. But my point is this whole thing about that's so 1966, it's got to be 2019 for a 2019 audience. And people are carrying around the vision. I mean, I thought Intermirror Darkline Enterprise settled that once and for all. Look, you can have this because basically the way I see it is a difference between design and cinematography. It's like you could have the 60s, tweak them, different materials, which you're actually physically making sets and props and things out of. Yep. Maybe you've got 50 years more advanced materials you can play with and do things and do curves and do whatever surfaces. But when people say the 2019 look, it has to be for a 2019 audience, they're talking about the cinematography, they're talking about the lighting, the cutting, the pacing, the framing.
Larry, one thing about that, though.
You could do that with anything.
In the Mirror Darkly example, though.
And I thought real quick, and I thought that the phaser beam showed oh, you don't have phasers like coming out 2 at a time. That's so 1966. It's like, did you see how they did? Not only did they depict them that way, but did you see what was going on? They were like micro firing, like bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
They were like,
Not only that, but they had them all over the ship, like even the apps.
yes. And if
they
you
did that
had,
with Defiant in America Darkly.
if you really had a computer as advanced as theirs was supposed to be, not like, oh, here's what we imagined in the 60s it could be, but even then, what it was supposed to be,
right?
You could have all that. You could have, the D famously has strips, so that's easier for them to fire anywhere they want to. But 100 years earlier, it's kind of nice to see. I mean, that was like rapid firing all over the place. It was like, see, this is what happens when you go back to the roots of visual canon, but then you just go, here's what they couldn't do. They couldn't have this rapid fire pinpoint shooting going on.
Well, heck, in the
and
old
that's what the assumed computer control capacity of an Enterprise could have done, even with fixed mount emitters. Anyway, I just thought that was awesome to see.
And they could have technically done the sausage separation.
Meanwhile, back at the story.
Yeah.
Tangent.
Back in the story.
Tangent.
So.
Tangent alert.
Go another 2 lines. We're going to talk about every second line, right? Okay.
But I do want to point out that one of the most awesome scenes in this entire episode is, can we talk about the anti-gravity kung fu fight?
After years of hearing null gravity combat, it was interesting to see it finally depicted, I think.
Yeah.
Michelle Yeoh being, and what's her name? Nom? Is that her name?
Non.
Like the
Think of the Indian.
The two of them. Matt, what did you think of that scene?
Cool. It was.
That's about. There's not really a lot of analysis to do there, George. It was cool.
It was cool.
I was curious to know how they were filming it as I watched it. Other than that, look, it's a no gravity combat fight.
I bet they did it the same way they did that old Fred Astaire dancing on the
Inception and
rotating set
around the set.
Fred Astaire, notorious kung fu fighter.
Well known for. Hey, the man was tough.
Everybody was kung fu dancing. Yeah, notice they didn't have that fight on the cargo deck or on the hangar deck. They had it in a little corridor that you could put on an axis and stuff.
Yeah, it was like that Lionel Richie video, Dancing on the Ceiling. I just had such.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It was like that one episode from Inception, or it was like that one scene from Inception with the rotating house.
Yeah. Does anyone know how they actually did this scene? Did they actually have a rotating set in the scene?
I don't know.
I haven't read yet, but I'm guessing that's probably what they did.
That would be the easiest thing to do.
No, hang on. It's real.
Fuck, that's right.
That could be true.
I forgot. Star Trek is a documentary. I forgot.
They said they had gravity emitter failure on deck, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, gravity mission failure is something else completely. Holy shit!
I only remember them losing life support from deck 7 through 11.
Oh, you're such a nerd. I love you.
Just stuck in my mind. I like life support.
I like 7-Eleven.
Hey, I like the life support. Hey,
Casey, we need to have a snack alert. A snack alert, Casey.
Snack alert. Snack alert.
Hey, Hayden, you want a cheeseburger? Okay. There we go.
Cheeseburger. Pepsi.
No Pepsi. Cool.
Sean, when I come to Vegas, can you buy me a cheeseburger?
Oh, hell yes.
Yes. Buy me something really American.
There's an In-N-Out right down the street.
There is an In-N-Out.
If we're buying Matt Miller something really American, we have to buy him a box of Twinkies.
I've never had Twinkies.
We had an offer from the guys at Trek Sphere to the guy sends Captain Kirk, is that what he calls himself? He's going to send us
John Kirk.
Yeah, John. He was going to send us homemade scotch before
He's sending us booze. Yep.
Yeah, he wants to come on one of our Game of Thrones shows, which we do on Sundays now that Game of Thrones is back, and he wants to send us his scotch, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that sounds good.
Wow. Sending alcohol to George is like sending hookers.
Hold on, folks. Here we go. Moment of truth. Here we go.
Thank you for choosing McDonald's.
Yeah.
There you go.
Commercial.
Go, America.
Yes, I would like a plain cheeseburger.
I need a beer.
Just a plain cheeseburger. That'll be all. Thank you.
You're going to have so much editing to do, man. Holy crap.
No, I'm keeping all this. I'm keeping all this. Screw that.
Just one burger.
Just
Did you
one
guys
burger.
miss it? I did my order. I did
He
my
did
ordering
his
as well.
Arnold
You guys missed
impression,
it.
guys. You were all talking.
I would have been
Sorry,
more
Sean.
impressed if you'd done the order in Klingon.
Yeah.
Look around the block.
Yeah, I would have been too.
I'm more impressed that Carlos Pedraza is standing during this entire show.
Oh, I
noob.
work standing up. I have a standing workstation.
Wait, you're
You're like
standing?
Dick Cheney.
He's like
Scary.
3'2". How can you?
Looks like you're standing on a box. It really does.
Who said that? Who said that? Which one of you's?
Son.
That was actually Sean. That
Oh,
said
don't
Was it
point to
Sean?
me.
It was not.
That
I
was
would take
Son.
credit for that joke, but it wasn't mine.
That was Son.
I don't complain about people's height.
I'm not heightist.
Tiny Carlos alert.
You can have fun at any size.
That's what he said.
Motion, folks.
Yeah,
Motion.
Carlos.
It doesn't matter how
Carlos
big it
is fun. Yeah, Carlos.
Look at all the white people defending
Yeah,
those.
Carlos is fun size.
I know
Definitely.
it's so cute.
Anyways,
Wait, hang on, Carlos, aren't you white?
I'm It's funny. I had this conversation at dinner today with someone.
And here we go.
don't get me started, Sean.
Oh Lord.
Cheeseburgers.
No cheeseburgers.
Cheeseburgers.
I love those kids so much.
Those kids are awesome. I cannot wait. Sean, do I get to meet the kids when I'm in Vegas?
Oh, hell yes. They are
Yeah,
part
I
of
don't
every
think you
convention.
can
I'm supposed to meet them in cosplay.
I think Sean's taking me back to his place for a
guys
nice grilled steak.
There you go.
Okay,
Fine.
okay, Sean, please tell me you have a cosplay picked out for these two of them being salt vampires
thank
with
you.
the numbers
Thank you.
1 and 2.
Got a free cheeseburger, guys. Got a free cheeseburger.
Yeah!
Because we were despite my bad accent.
Back to your dog.
See, this is how I know I'm not white, because they would never give me a free cheese.
They wouldn't get a dog, dude.
Would not.
Yeah, but they thought I was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
How many of you white people have been let off a speeding ticket?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah, just 2 days
Show
ago.
your boobs.
Zero.
Not me.
Zero.
Actual topic alert. Actual topic alert.
Carlos, you got to show
Oh,
them.
Actual
What?
alert.
Meanwhile, back at the story.
Then back to the story. The null gravity combat scene was indeed done with a rotisserie floor.
Just like my chicken.
Who is that?
Were they barbecued afterwards?
I'm sorry, I injected some industry terminology. I'll just back out now. Okay.
It's probably a good deal.
It was the perfect.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Peel alert.
Peel is bad, by the way.
your kids have to peel a lot, don't they? Anyways,
What are you feeding those kids, Sean?
no cheeseburgers. Obviously.
The other one was asleep the last time we did this. Come on, Harrison. Let's go.
Hey, Larry. I got to pee.
You need shoes on. You can't.
Well,
go
I got a
without
cue,
shoes on.
Alex. What do you? What?
I just have a mayonnaise jar underneath this desk.
I'd like to buy a vowel. Oh, okay.
I'm professional and Carlos, that's really clear.
I'm well hydrated.
He's going to pass the test tomorrow when he goes to the.
Are you trying to emulate the finale and that the part one's going to be padded and then we'll get to part two and it'll really be just slam bang?
Oh my!
That
What
was a
exactly are
really
you watching, Larry?
That's a really good effort to get us back on track, Larry. Thank
Yes.
you.
I got
How about we do that?
So let's talk about Jet Reno for a second.
Jet Reno.
Okay. He was her and Poe, or the two characters that came, that were like the side characters that I'm hoping I think I have a prediction. I don't know if it's going to happen. I think that it's possible that
No.
Poe's going to still exist when they go through the wall because she's her planet and whatever is going to make her old.
Based on what?
Well,
Based
was
on-
she with them or was she off in her?
No, she was on her own shuttle.
Yeah, she's looking up and
It's just
Saru's
because-
sister's
it's
looking
I'm
up.
just saying, I think we don't know much about her race. I'm just saying she might still be
Yeah,
alive.
she might
George
be long-lived, is what he
loves
said.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
George
she might
loves
be
It's
her,
a
long-lived.
therefore she
speculation.
should be there.
Nah.
It's just let me have my speculation. It's just I love her.
Let him have his
No.
dreams, guys.
Let me have my
God.
dream.
Let him have his pike hair, damn it.
You're killing. Yeah, because I did guess the wheelie pike thing. By the way, Larry, these guys were like,
Back
"Oh,
at
no,
the
what happened?"
story.
The wheelie pike thing?
Yeah,
Wait, was there a motorcycle in this one too?
I guess that we were going to get Wheelie Pike, and that it was going to happen in a time way back, and then I was right. And Carlos was like, he actually sent me $3 after a
In
bit.
the wheelchair or what?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I call him Wheelie Pike.
Oh, I thought you meant like Papa Wheelie. Okay.
No, because I have a friend, Larry, I have a friend offline, and I call him Wheelie, the wheelchair guy.
Okay.
Okay. Meanwhile, back at the story.
He called himself Wheelie, just so you know. So anyway, so I think we're
and some other stuff happened, and
some other stuff happened. So
we're
then
not talking about that.
Oh yeah. So they so Leland beams over, then Giorgio and her I want to hear you scream and her evil laugh.
Yeah, it reminds me
kind of like that. That's kind of like that. And let me ask Casey what you thought of that.
I thought it was quite an evil laugh.
Thank you.
In a fun kind of way.
It was really evil in an evil kind of way.
I like Giorgio. I like that she just wants to see people suffer and for her enjoyment and her pleasure. And it's like
she's like my ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
I like that she had a plan, because at first it seemed like just colorful boasting, and it turns out that she had a plan. Even when she was getting her butt kicked, all over, null gravity corridors. Did anyone else, by the way, think that it was her and Nan who got sucked up into the...
I did,
at first.
I did at first too, and I'm like, and all of a sudden they were back. I'm like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah, where did those two random crewmen
They were knocked into the corridor by Leland.
Oh, that was a little confusing. Okay, here's my only complaint about this episode.
Only?
Only? I got some.
For now.
All right, Larry. I'm going to ask you after. But my only complaint was that the battle, compared to Deep Space Nine's large-scale battles, like in the Dominion War, I felt like the choreography it was confusing. Like, I didn't know who was shooting at who. It was very, it was like they were trying to be all super dramatic and make it like, let's make this.
Saying it was like Police Story times 1,000?
A little bit.
Okay, so I have two ways of thinking about this.
He's holding his fingers up, people. Two
mints in one.
All right.
Dose.
Yep.
So, on the one hand, I loved the look of the battle. I loved all of the ships. I loved the fact that they had drones, that they had pods and shuttles that they modified for battle. All of that was great. But on the other hand, you're right. It was not very well choreographed. But I think the point of the battle was not really the battle. The battle was a background. It was
a sideshow.
Yeah, it was the fog of war. It was the fog of war. And so on the one hand, I would have liked to have seen a better choreographed kind of battle because it was beautiful to watch on one level. But at the same time, that's not really where the through line of the story was going. It was much more about what was happening on each ship and the with the characters and what was and switching back and forth between Enterprise, Discovery, and Spock and Burnham, and that's really where the dramatic tension in this episode was coming from, and the battle was just it was background.
Well, plus it wasn't like a bunch of German generals or a bunch of West Point generals sitting there pushing their little model pieces across a big map because they had this big elaborate plan. It was like this crazy. It was a survivalist battle. It was like a heavyweight slugfest. And these.
No, I agree. It was just the way
they're just bashing on each other and wailing away, and whoever can shoot the most and get the most things to shoot is going to win. And
I just felt like it was confusing as far as being clear about shooting and what hit what.
Larry is right that it's a war of attrition in what we're seeing, not a tactical battle.
Exactly. They weren't trying to win the battle. They were trying to literally
buy time for.
They were trying to buy time. They were trying to stall. Yeah. Is what they were trying to do.
They were stalling. Leland wants the stuff.
Yep.
However he can get it, and they're stalling to get her through the wormhole. So
right.
No, it was like the swarmy, like that mosquito cloud or whatever. But when you basically had the two Discovery Enterprise revolving, I thought that was really effective. I don't know. I don't think we've ever seen ships depicted that way. Even in the Dominion War scenes, where you had like the ships were like, oh, their front flank is exposed. Let's get out. Let's do this in front of them. Oh, the torpedo blew them out. Let's get in front. Oh, let's cover up their back end. I mean, you actually saw them depicting that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
And the Section 31 ships were just out there. You're talking about what models they resembled. I'm like, could you even tell what they were? The damn thing.
I couldn't. That was another part of the problem. They were like,
but it's not the problem, George. It wasn't. You don't want to pay too much attention to the ships in the battle because they're not what's important to the
Especially in this.
Think the cool ships are cool. That's what I'm saying.
No, George. That's actually.
It was
that doesn't lead to the story. Story is key.
Plus, eventually, the effects guys had CG models that they did have to build, and considering if they took them all the way to 100% completion, or if they just made like a half-assed one because, half detailed because it's got to be background. Eventually, they'll share all that stuff out, and people can admire that the ship. The tech heads will look at the ships out that way, and they'll have that. But as far as that's the same thing as it's always been. You never get the beauty of the ships until you get to see them in some reference thing later. Because
I'm sorry, I'm only half paying attention because of all the stuff that's going on.
Yeah, Sean, you have to,
I just see a ladder moving, and Sean's taking his kids to the bathroom.
And no one listening to this is going to know what the heck you're talking about.
Exactly. So can we stay on track, folks, please?
Yes. Okay.
Wait, I wanted to talk about what Larry was talking about, and this is I want to point the difference. The difference between this episode and the Orville's Best of Both Worlds episode that they did is that there was an underlying story in this one, and this was just background noise. The fight, there really wasn't anything more than that. I mean, that was the point of this, is that it was to create tension for what was really going on, as opposed to just pew 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 pew.
I agree.
So the battle in this was secondary in my opinion. I don't think it served anything more than
gratuitous space battle porn.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. No, I wasn't looking for space battle porn. I just want to be able to easily identify who's shooting at what and what was actually happening. Like DS9 did that a little bit better.
Let me repeat. What you're doing is saying, pay more attention to the battle. And what we're saying is dramatically paying more attention to the battle distracts from the drama of the story.
Well, they did have the Section 31 ships firing red beams. After I looked locked onto the blue
That's
beam,
a good point. Yep.
Then they had red. So you kind of got a thing of here's our two hero ships, and then there's a fog of drones and bots and shuttles and little spin-off things that everybody's got fighting each other. And we know that they've got a lot more now than we do. So that's like a dramatic thing. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of vaguely see those Section 31 ships out there just shooting the hell out. And in a close-up, if it's a red beam, it's theirs. And if it's a blue beam, it's us.
And when the Klingons...
you have the two big ships. And that's all you kind of needed. That's all you were going to get.
Yeah, that's fair. And then when the Klingons finally showed up, it was the green beam. Go ahead, Matt. What were you going to say?
I was going to say it was very kind of controlled to have a different color on their phases. It just really helped everything.
Made it much easier.
Yeah.
If we're going to go down, we're at least going to get some decent ratings. That's what
I think it's really nice.
It's like when they put bullseyes on the side of U.S. planes during World War II. Yeah, same concept there.
Yeah. I like how they get together. So, like, we hate each other, but let's agree on this.
And then we get this moment where
the Galactic Universal docking collar specs that everybody fits into everybody else's docking collar.
So Burnham jumps out, time suit, getting everything ready to go, and then the moment that she saw in the time vision where that torpedo hits Enterprise, and we get that moment where number one goes down there with Admiral Cornwell to try to defuse the torpedo. That's a big moment. They have a lot of strong, powerful women in this season, both seasons. So Burnham and not Burnham, number one and Cornwell are working together to try to defuse the torpedo. And we get this moment where Pike kind of name checks her. We can hear it. Sean's definitely...
Okay, stop. Sean, can you put it on mute, please? Because we hear everything.
Yeah. I can hear your balls move a little bit. Anyways,
step away from the straw. Okay.
Casey, step away from the straw.
So we get a moment where, and someone had to point out to me. I agree now that it's no longer a name check, but it's a reference. That there was one moment where Pike says to number one that he says, "I need you to come take over the con, Una," which is a reference from, as Dayton Ward pointed out, what they called her in one of the novels. That, and I agree, it's not actually her name because in the books they say it was like another nickname for her, and that Dayton pointed out that it was that they looked at it like the writers looked at it like when they were writing for her that she may have been even an alien and that her name may have been hard to pronounce. So they Pike did call her Una, and it was like for a split second. Doesn't mean it was a reference to that writer, Una, whatever her last name is. I'm sorry. But Larry, what do you think of that? Because you would know about that.
Well, hold on. Wait, hold on. Dayton Ward said that the reference in the book was a reference to the writer.
Right.
George, I gotta pull you back.
He did call her Una, though.
Okay, that's great, and that's canon for this episode. But here's the thing, okay, is that the books, the novels are not canon, okay? So
I agree, but I'm just saying
whatever happens.
They brought a
matter of agreeing.
Yeah.
So again, what you see on screen is what's canon.
But they did it on screen.
That they did this. Okay, dude, but what you're missing is that it's not a reference to what happened in the book necessarily. It's just it is what it is in this universe. Okay, maybe it is a nod to it, but that's
what I'm saying.
It's not canonizing a novel.
I agree.
That's not what he's arguing, though, Sean. He's just saying the name originally appeared in a novel, and now it's been mentioned on screen. Therefore, the name is canon.
I'm not saying.
More importantly, the name number one, the name is canon is more importantly because that's exactly what she said her name was during her debrief.
Right.
Yeah, that was
What do you think, Larry?
And frankly, I put more stock in that than I do in that whole Pike thing because that could have been a nickname. Just called
exactly.
Well, whatever it is, he did call her that. Whatever you want to say, and there was an exchange today with Michelle Paradise online somewhere where somebody asked her if that was meant to be Una from the novels, and she said yeah. So it was, but yeah, when she's in her.
Oh, I didn't know about that, Larry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So when it's like we're got confusing 9 threads here. When she says in her debrief, number one, I thought that was really telling. At first, I didn't hear the Una watching the show the first time.
I didn't either. Somebody pointed out to me.
So when she said number one to the debrief guy, I went, boy, they're just really sticking it in everybody's face. It's like, no, we're not going to come up with a name for her. Deal with it. It's like, okay, fine. And then later to see that he called her Una, and I totally get it. And then to see this conversation they had, of course, yes, we took that from the books. Everybody went, oh, they used something from the books. Oh, okay, that's cool. So whatever it is. What's amazing is on Trek Files, I had Dorothy Fontana, and the one thing that was gobsmacking me as we were talking about, I said, that's really too bad. Number one never got any, this is a year ago. It's too bad number one never got any more development. That was so, intriguing. And Dorothy said, she said, well, we were just sitting around, just bullshitting this story, just talking about, I started to come up with an idea that she came from a planet of cloned people. And if you were number one in your line of clones, you were
that
just
makes sense.
number one.
I like that.
And blah, blah, blah. And she's sitting there across the microphones and my jaw just fell off. It was like, it's 2019 and we're just hearing this now. Like, I've never heard that before. And then the reaction that got was equally that way. So, but nobody did that till anyway. But all of this stuff can still be, Una could be a nickname. It could be his little name. It could be almost a corruption of Uno, number one, Una. Do they ever, in the books, do they give her like a full name and that's part of her full name?
No, from what I was told by people that in the book,
Memory Beta.
David Mack, his book, apparently it's something about her. That's the nickname her friends call her because they don't want to say number one. Okay.
So it's whether it's her given name or it's a nickname. It's on film now, and that's cool. Right. It's like Nyota for Uhura and what's it for Sulu? Yeah.
Hikaru.
Yep. There was an episode. There was a mini episode of Doctor Who where they didn't canonize, but they shouted out some of the audio characters that he traveled with And I think it was similar to that. It was like an acknowledgement, but it wasn't like making everything canon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they'll go and dribble. People who are fanboys and fangirls writing the shows over the years from middle of DS9 onward pull canon in and make it. I mean, like Ron Moore made D7 canon when it had been the fan term for.
That's true.
I mean,
which, by the way,
in trials and tribulations to get it, so
yep.
There's a million things like that. That all the Andorian stuff that Mike Sussman did on Enterprise is for the FASA game manuals for Andorians. So
yeah, I used to actually run that game. By the way, the FASA games back in the day.
Anyway,
but,
yes, cool that they called her Una. Yes.
Yeah, Matt Miller. What do you think about all this? Does it matter? Is it important? I think she should never be named. That was always my thought. But what do you think about all this?
No.
Okay.
That's
fantastic.
Are we really going to spend like 15
No,
minutes?
we're not. I like this.
Really?
Some more lines.
So,
we're not. That's why
there's a whole bunch of damage that happens, and then the R2D2s pop up and fix Amidala. Oh, wait, that's the wrong franchise.
Okay, so the R2D2s pop up, and Admiral Cornwall has to sacrifice herself. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Raul, what do you think of that?
That was deep. In every type of heroes passing a threshold, you need to sacrifice. Someone cannot make it to the promised land. So that was the Admiral, and she paid the ultimate price. But she died a hero, so that was important. It's important to have meaningful death in these type of shows.
Casey, what do you think?
I'm sorry, I was not paying attention. What was the question?
What year was the Smoot Hawley tariff, Mr. No.
Wow, if you could answer that.
It's the Star Wars Holiday Special canon.
Bueller.
Holiday Special. Wookiees. Lumpy. Anyways. No, but okay, Casey, if you weren't paying attention, I'll ask you one more time.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Cornwall dying with a torpedo.
Oh, I thought it was very dramatic. I mean,
it was a nice way to die,
you
right?
have to have some people die. It's supposedly a big battle, and she's not a main character, so
she is.
No, she's not.
No, she's not.
No.
And I also find it really interesting. That's one hell of a blast door with a.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I thought too. It's like, wait a minute, what's
Like there's a huge cheese wedge out of the Enterprise, but that blast door, boy, that survived.
We got into a whole Twitter exchange with 3 or 4 people where we're talking about the blast door. It's like the blast door took over. It's like, yeah, when the Enterprise went in for its refit, the one thing that they didn't bother changing was that blast door, because that was like, the biggest flag. Decker says, "Sir, you don't know this ship at all. 100%. It's been totally redesigned." Kirk says, "Totally?" And he goes, "Well, there is this blast door."
It's got one hell of a window.
And one hell of a window.
Was anyone else expecting Chekhov and Scotty to be on the other side of that blast door, and Chekhov to turn to Scotty and say, "My God, was anyone in here?"
No, but did you notice early on when Reno said, basically said, "What do you want me to do? Change the laws of physics?"
Yeah.
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 Basically, anything Reno said was cool. I love that about her.
I've never sat
Arrogance
through
full.
a Discovery episode since day one, and no matter what was going on, whether it was in turmoil or chaos, or it was a good episode, or it was trying, or it was a setup, whatever it was, I'd never sat and thought how many little homages to things I saw flick by.
There were a lot.
And maybe I dreamed it, but there were from all over the franchise, mainly original and like the Cage, but I kept seeing things.
Like what, Larry? Like
And
is-
hearing.
Yeah,
Well, like that. Well, okay. The one that really knocked me off was, and I don't want to get ahead of us, but the final shot of the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Oh,
Huh.
absolutely.
Oh,
The
in
pullout?
space
They
were-
pull out of the bridge through the sensor dome. It's like a reverse. It's like a reverse homage to coming
Reverse of
through
the Cage, yeah.
Yeah,
the Cage.
yeah.
And the grills on the back of the nacelles.
Well, that was last week, but yes,
Was that last week too?
I squealed.
And for those that don't know, James Cawley did donate all those little buttons to
Gel buttons.
Jelly bean.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they consulted him too, didn't they? From what I heard about
Well,
the.
Pat asked him to send them, so yes. I guess you could call that consulting.
That'd be a consultation.
Can you
Send
send us
us
all these buttons, but don't tell us anything about them?
I actually heard he was consulted with the dimensions because they adjusted the dimensions of the Enterprise in this new canon. Larry, is this the JJ universe? It's not, right? It's
No, why are you even asking?
I'm asking.
Come on. What?
It's not. I'm asking. I'm trying to shock everybody. I'm asking.
You're not shocking us. You're
No.
Do
I'm
not put your
asking.
finger in the light socket. No.
No, I'm asking
Not
because
shocking.
it's not the JJ universe. Obviously.
George.
The reason I asked this question is because so many people keep saying all the time travel and the explanations.
We don't care about those people because they're wrong.
Oh, of course they
How
are.
many times
Let's
can
move
the
along.
producers say this is the prime time?
Hey, Carlos, I'm on your sheet of music when it comes to.
But then
why
give it attention?
give them attention?
There's no reason to argue this point at all.
Not
Moving
argument.
on.
Right.
It's
No
not
one in this chat thinks that's the case. So why
No.
are we wasting time on it?
You wave your hand a lot.
He's Hispanic.
Because I'm a white person.
It's all you got to do.
Well, we can't see Raul, but he's,
I'm waving my hands too angrily.
That was awesome. See,
You should see what Carlos is. You should see the gestures he's making when he's not on video.
He's always on.
I
video.
see a whole bunch of white people waving their hands, but I don't see nary a one of them using spirit fingers.
I need to use Photoshop or something. Anyways, so not Raul. So the jelly buttons were donated by James Colley, and I love the way that Spock had to go out of his way to touch that button and make the little,
Oh, God, George.
That's what.
It sounds so wrong.
It does sound so wrong. So
That's George's
feels
takeaway
so
from the
right.
whole episode.
So Leland dies.
Upstate when I pressed a button.
Oh my God.
Oh,
So Leland dies.
Let's talk about Leland for a second.
Let's talk about Leland for a second. Carlos, you go for it.
George is sounding like Chris. George is sounding like Chris Farley from Saturday Night Live when he would do the interviews, and he would interview Paul
Remember that
McCartney. He
time?
goes, "Remember when you were at the Beatles? That was cool, wasn't it?"
That was awesome.
That's what it's becoming like.
Hey, Sean, remember that time you drove through McDonald's drive-thru? Yeah, that was awesome.
That was awesome. I know. That was amazing.
Okay, okay, Carlos,
In the middle
tell
of the
us about
podcast,
Leland.
that was awesome.
Yeah,
Tell us
the
about
video feed
Leland,
that nobody could
Carlos.
see. That was awesome.
I'll just wait till you're ready.
So Carlos, you want to talk about? Go ahead. Carlos, go ahead.
Carlos just mom shamed us.
It did.
My mom's dead, so go ahead.
No, it's not. Your mom is Carlos. Get it right.
All right,
Now
good.
keep that on your shoulder, okay, Dad? I said keep it on your shoulder.
I bow to the master.
For the rest of
Oh, okay.
We're back.
Okay.
Okay, Carlos.
So
Meanwhile, back in the alpha and beta quadrants.
Yes.
did anyone else have a problem with the fact that Leland got on the ship and if they had left with Leland on board, it made the entire thing pointless?
It was so sad. I have a question for you, Carlos. Why did they keep going on to the future when
That was the other, yeah. The Section 31 ships all stood down and fell apart when Leland did, and they said,
Yeah,
I
was a little
centralized.
confused about this
No,
too.
that was not confusing to me. That made total sense because the artificial intelligence clearly had control.
Ah.
Well, yeah. But
I want to know what
I
Agent 99
was confused by this.
Agent 99.
Oh.
No, I thought it was.
No, I mean that part made
Larry
sense.
gets it.
nice move, Max.
The control was centralized on Leland. Leland died. Everything stopped.
But why was he there to begin with? I mean,
To get the spear data. That made sense.
Oh, no. That's
But
not what I
it
mean.
makes
I
sense.
mean, was they took it. What they did was, this is the problem I have with this, was that they winded. The point it was getting Discovery 950 years in the future to get away from him, and they wind up taking him with them. And I'm like, what is going on here? It was defeating the whole point.
You got a good point, actually, Sean. I mean, because when they did the interviews, right? The Starfleet guy goes, Spock asks, and he goes, "We neutralized control. We can confirm it." How does he know? How the hell does he know? Because
He's the producer.
Was on.
He read the script.
Because there was 4 minutes left, and they had to,
Because
I just felt sorry for that admiral, whatever the hell he was.
Because plot.
Face, it was all back.
Oh yeah, I wonder who that was. Was that someone
Admiral Double Chin.
significant?
Yes.
He'll be significant in the
They got a
Section
great deal
31
because
show.
the large science guy on the Enterprise just doubled as the admirals, but they couldn't show his face. So
It was
I
Patrick
actually
from
thought
Deep,
that for a second. We're just going to add this on here in the end.
it was Patrick from Deep Space Nine. That's a stupid question. That's who that was.
So Giorgio and Nom take out Leland, or kind of together, and then Giorgio laughs while he dies, which was probably my favorite moment in the whole episode.
Well, you also have to remember that I can't remember who pointed it out. This was Giorgio's plan all along, because from the beginning, when they had the shields up, she says, "Why don't you just invite him over?"
That's true. She did say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
And
makes
then we got that moment that was similar to some of the episodes of Deep Space Nine where cavalry come in. So first we got the Klingons, and then this is the part that I wasn't completely sold on, which is the Kelpians coming in with the Beowulf fighters. I was
Show them what it says.
that felt a bit forced.
It didn't take Saru long. Hey.
I love the line.
It's a post-Ganglia world.
Yeah.
Ganglia world.
You know what? That's actually true because she did get her ganglia. You know what? Is that like?
Don't get your ganglia.
Yeah, children around. I'm not gonna say it.
Well, it's hard not to after they're lying in a pile.
Here's a question. I'm trying to figure this out. If the magnet thing worked in this episode to completely kill Control, why didn't it work 2 episodes ago?
Don't ask me. I didn't write this script.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean,
I had a real problem with the whole. Why did it have to happen in the spore chamber? You know, Spock was able to magnetize the floor of the bridge on the Section 31 ship. They could do
right, exactly.
That's just not one of those advanced Section 31 features. They get demagnetizing floors. We don't.
Bitches.
It's not fair. They get everything.
Do you think it costs $12,000 for a hammer?
I mean, Jesus.
Good job, Earl.
I want to know what Joe thinks.
That's an Independence Day reference.
Joe, we need a joke. Go for it. Joe's a master of jokes. Go for it.
Oh no.
The only joke took place before we started recording.
Oh.
These 17 podcasters walk in a bar.
Finish that thought.
Podcasters leave their house. I don't believe
he's not going to repeat it. He's not going to repeat the joke.
Oh my God.
Sorry, guys.
He does actually. He repeats jokes.
All right, I got a joke. Here we go. A guy walks into a bar. Wait, no. A guy walks into a doctor's office. He has 26 plastic horses.
I often confuse the two myself.
I know.
When you're Hispanic, that would be that way.
It's not an analgesic.
Anyway, so a guy walks into the doctor with 26 plastic horses up his butt. And
told us this last week.
The guy says, Larry,
I haven't heard it.
Season finale. Somebody new? Come on.
Hold on. And the guy says, Doc, it hurts so bad I got 26 plastic horses up my butt. Anyway, the doctor takes over to take a look, and the doctor says, well, you look stable to me.
It gets worse every week.
Double face palm.
I waited 45 seconds for that.
Yeah, all the way from Australia. Are you impressed by Joe's jokes? I don't think you are.
Can I just say?
Yes.
It didn't really ripen very well over the course of the week.
I was going to say his voice was getting a bit hoarse there towards the end.
Oh, my God.
Wah, wah.
Why long in the face?
Oh, come on, folks. Let's saddle up and keep going.
In the main, it wasn't so bad, but
Maine is where George is.
I am. I'm in Maine.
Good pointing there, Carlos.
George is actually on the back of a horse right now.
Doxing.
I'm on the back of a horse. Never mind. I'm not. My dog.
Back to the episode.
It's okay. I'm not going to.
Does he have Old Spice with him?
No. I have my dog, though.
Okay.
The dog's name is Old Spice?
I quine, you quine, we all quine for equine. Okay, so.
So Leland, the whole thing with the Leland death thing.
Yeah, so he
So
dies.
basically, it sounds like we agree that this was a problematic part of the plot.
I mean, it's just like it's the same. It's like the same thing that I have with the Seven Signals. Okay, Seven Signals appeared in the beginning of the season. And now we're only just
Okay,
getting to
you just brought me to my number
7 signals showing up somehow.
Larry kind of joked about this, but I said my only problem was the space battle. There was actually one more thing that was.
I know.
Talking to learn.
It is the fact that they had to sort of do the whole clip show whenever Burnham was going back to each moment that she needed to red burst. They didn't.
Yeah, it went from being the greatest season finale of Trek to the worst.
It is. It only brings it down a notch.
No. Let shut up. It went to be. It became season 2 of TNG's finale. The Shades of Grey is what it
was
did.
not Shades of Grey.
I love that episode.
It's not that bad.
No.
It's a few.
What?
Oh God!
Down my points on when I get to the final number is that we didn't need whenever Burnham and Spock were figuring out where she needed to go for the burst. They didn't need to keep recapping every single friggin' thing that she needed to do.
I don't think it was that bad. They got faster as they went along.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And they
Especially
retconned the star date. They actually
Did they? I was
Star
wondering
Trek,
about that.
I got star dates, and they retconned every moment with a star date.
Did
I
they?
thought I did.
Yes, I was writing them down as it flew
Yeah.
by.
You were writing them down. All right.
I love that you did that, Larry.
Yeah.
Oh my
Well,
God!
I mean, it's
Yep,
what
there
I've
it is.
done since TNG. I mean,
You
like,
literally
No,
just-
I'm glad somebody does.
You also have to remember that the red bursts got faster because as more of them showed up, we never saw the Red Angel.
Right.
Okay, this brings me to another point. It's a good thing, though, not a bad thing. I've had a lot of people say, well, you know what? It would have been better if we had seen Discovery's point of view from when they go through the wormhole at the end. No. This whole episode was about Spock's, first of all, his leap of faith.
and they would have had to figure it out.
And, yeah, that too. And Spock's leap of faith and the fact that they needed that moment where he sees that final red burst. It not only leads Pike's Enterprise to go, let's go check it out, but it makes, the whole point was that we didn't need to see it because he said, I'm going to have faith that you're going to finish this mission. And she does deliver that final red burst, the 7th signal. And I love
And of course, yeah, and of course, Faith was a nod, an homage to Enterprise because, of course, Faith of the Heart.
Really? That's where we're
Obviously.
going?
I don't know about that.
That's what I was going to say. Spock
okay.
has faith of the heart.
Damn you.
So I'm gonna only sort of disagree with you on this one, George, because I think it was a good idea to stay with the Enterprise through the end of the season instead of jumping ahead with Discovery for two reasons. But I don't think it's fair to characterize that the point of the entire season was about Spock's faith. That was
not the whole season, but part of it.
But it's not the point. It isn't. It's
No.
tangential and it's important, but it's not the point of the season. It was a theme of the season, but there were several themes through the season. The decision not to show Discovery, I think Larry's right. They would have had to have come up with the whole concept and then stick to it in season 3. And
Right, agreed.
harder for them to. Plus, I think it's called Discovery. They'll leave us. It's good that they're leaving us on the edge of a cliff at the end of this season because we'll want to know. It's going to raise anticipation. That's what you want. And finally, it was great to be able to kind of say goodbye to the Enterprise because we love them. We love Pike. I love Pike.
Yeah,
One after.
Yeah, they killed two birds with one stone in this. It's like I agree with Carlos on both parts, but I'll expand a little bit. Again, they did not dig themselves into a hole that this is where Discovery's picking up, and now we're stuck with this for season 3. It's wide open on what they can do with that.
Yes.
And the other side of this is that what they did with the end with Pike is they left it open two ways in either this is the end for our Pike story, or is it ? And yeah, I mean, so I thought the end of it was done very well in that way because it created two mysteries for us.
It was the only.
Yeah, What's that?
It
What
was
that?
it was the only episode or movie in Star Trek where I was like, "Holy crap, they did that!" Like,
Yeah.
they did that because
Yep. And go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
no, that's it. It was just like, holy crap, like.
Yeah,
Who
no, it was
else?
great. It was actually literally a leap of faith, because we don't, they don't know exactly where they're going to end up and what they're going to find when they get there. That part
Let's
fantastic.
and let's talk a little bit about before we because we pretty much covered the whole thing. But let's
Oh wait, can we dispel one notion?
What's that?
I've been reading a lot comments on different boards and stuff about that he's claiming that Discovery only leaped 4 months into the future because that's how long it.
Who said that?
Lots of people have been saying that on
4 months.
Where did that even? I mean, it's the
Because it's
9:30, but where's 4 months come from?
from the
I've
120
never heard that.
Yeah.
120 days, and then that's when Spock sees the signal and sort of
What?
they conflated the signal with the destination of
Oh,
Discovery, and that's not
Wait,
what
wait.
happened.
I don't.
Wait a minute. So the moral to this story is fans have the dumb, is what you're telling me.
Pretty much.
The big dog.
They did.
Okay, good. I just
Hopefully
want to
on
clarify
second
that. Okay.
viewing- Hopefully on second viewing, that doesn't happen. By the way, I did check the closed captions, George, on that scene where he's supposed to says,
40, like 26. I think?
I went right to 4026, and that's not where it happens. It happens a little later, but
Okay.
the name does not appear in the closed captions. Just
Oh, all right. Well, he does say it right before the torpedo when he says, "Come back to the bridge." Basically.
I saw a conversation between Trek Core and Michelle Paradise where they asked her, and she said, "Oh yes, they're talking like it happened somewhere. So maybe it was somewhere else. I haven't
Yeah,
got into
it didn't show it, which means that it was something that was either improvised or added at the end, because closed captions are made from the dialogue list from the show, which comes from the script. So that means it wasn't written in. It was
Well, so it
probably-
wasn't. It's not from a true transcript, because a true transcript.
Right, because he
right.
did.
It's, no. The closed captions don't come from transcripts.
Under his breath, kind of thing. Like,
They come from dialogue lists. So
I think it was just an Easter egg, basically.
So I want to say what I really like about the mystery at the end of this season with Discovery going on to season 3 is that we know that Luke Skywalker will appear in season 3. That's
and he'll have a blue lightsaber.
Everybody that's here that doesn't.
right, exactly.
With the
To
right
match
stand.
the phasers.
I have
of
a
the
theory
Enterprise.
in
Exactly.
never mind. It's a long story.
Can I
Mandalorian.
just say though that during the battle, when Poe was in her fighter and it wound up, and Pike just said, "Everybody, follow Her Highness."
Follow
And
the
I-
Queen.
Follow
Yep.
the Queen, and I was like, "Ha! Star
That was
Wars,
great.
we've got a princess, we've got
Yep.
a queen," and yeah, okay,
Oh, I like that, Larry. I never
Yeah.
thought about that.
it's yours, it's free.
Can we talk about? Okay, listen.
Very
can we-
Let's try spinning. That's a good trick.
Let's talk about this. We've already talked pretty much in ad nausea about this episode
Oh,
itself.
you have forgotten one of the most important things.
Okay, which is
And
Debrief.
That
No,
Burnham
no,
has been
well,
the Red Angel all along.
no,
well, that's old news.
the fact that in terms of pacing, I don't and I've seen this before on Discovery. I've seen it on a lot of TV shows, and frankly, it drives me crazy. Where you're in the middle of something that they've made a big deal is time sensitive, yet they have the time to have this long, drawn out. Let's
Goodbyes and things.
I know.
and I'm like, dude,
Hurry up.
you need to get the fuck out of into a wormhole.
Which part of your
Why are you talking about?
Right.
Love her.
All the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I
Time for deep conversations. You're like, aren't you about to die? Let's keep
exactly.
moving.
You know, and the thing is, I'm willing to give a little slack. You know, like have a few lines of that. But this went on and on.
By the way, how did Cornwell know Pike's fate? Have we figured that out?
That's a good question.
No.
She doesn't. Why do you assume she does?
No, what are you talking about? Did you watch the episode?
I did. You're projecting something onto her that she didn't know.
Well, hang on a second, Carlos.
Really?
Hang on a
She
second.
knew. She knew.
Matt, back me up here.
Why would she know?
I
Well,
don't know, but it seemed pretty clear that she knew.
She knew.
I'm-
You guys are
I can't.
Are
way.
you
way,
kidding
way-
me?
I didn't want to say this earlier, but I really feel that the loss of Cornwell, having her character be killed off, is really an insult to the mental health profession in the world today, and the respect that mental health is given, that they pick the one counselor character in the whole show and they kill them off.
Oh my God!
So
Yep.
I'm
Okay.
really
That was
upset.
So they just
that was an homage to the.
It's kill your shrinks all over again.
Yes.
Don't
Wait,
like
what
it.
did Matt say?
Hold on, Matt Miller in.
Matt,
Yeah, that wasn't that was an homage to the fact that they should have killed off Troy in the second season too. That's what that
Yeah,
was
but
about.
Matt
Okay.
has a theory about
Matt
this.
Miller. Let him in.
Yeah, go.
I certainly think that Cornwell's not dead. She's gone to
What?
the Mycelial network.
Oh, what?
Well,
How?
she won't ever be dead as long as
I'm
her-
bullshitting here.
Oh,
but
okay, he's bullshit.
Colbert did it.
But in all
Colbert did it.
seriousness, Matt, you do know what I'm saying, right? She did know that his
No.
fate. She
She
said,
had to know.
Okay,
Guys,
explain
Watch
this.
Watch that scene again.
I watched it 5 times.
It's a
Remem-
cheeky
but
scene.
you're watching it with this presupposition, George.
No, I'm watching it with alcohol. That's a
I don't
different.
I mean, at least he's being honest.
Exactly.
Yes,
That was-
honesty appreciated.
Yeah, this is-
You have to remember, if you go back, I'll wait.
He'll
Oh,
wait.
I'll-
Go ahead.
If you go back several episodes, remember when they had the big confrontation between Pike and Cornwell, in which Pike said, "Why did you keep me away from the war?" And she said, "You are the best that Starfleet has. You are worth keeping safe. That's what she believes about this man, and that's why she sacrificed herself here. Because
No, dude, she
without
totally
let me finish, George, please. That she knows that if it's between her sacrifice and his sacrifice, she knows that for the same reason that she was in the war and chose to be in the war, and she didn't let him be in the war, that he is a great captain and deserves to live, and that's why she did it. It's
Yeah,
not
that sounded great, but let's actually
vision about him being Wheelie Pike. There's just no evidence. For it.
I could totally see it happening, but yeah, it would be too. In the moment, I remember my brain battling. Did she know? How would she have done it? If she,
That's what I did
We
too.
both
exactly.
know,
I mean,
Pike, or whatever she says.
Well,
Chris.
folks, that's
Okay.
irony. That's irony.
The conversation is
Without actually
Does
knowing
he
it,
handle it?
but
Here's
we
how
know
I-
it.
Here's what happened in that. Here's what happened in that exchange. In that exchange, Pike is talking about having seen his own destiny, and
Right.
he's going. If that's supposed to be the destiny that comes to pass, I can't die here. And her train of thought from a counselor and having protected him the way she had is, look, I don't know what you've just gone through, but considering you're the best of the best, does it really matter if you're here or not? We'll lose you.
Right. She was like, come on, Carlos. Come on.
She's
No,
not-
no, wait, George,
He's not
wait,
sharing his
wait,
future.
wait.
She is imposing he is the best of the best,
That's
and he
exactly
should
what I
survive.
Okay, yes.
Exactly.
Here's the thing. Here. Look, like I said, I'm with Larry in that my brain fought with this for a moment, but then I went back to the scene where he has a conversation with Laurel and Tyler, and he says that he can't tell it. He can't tell them what happened with his experience on Bareth. He can't tell them. So
Right.
if he couldn't tell them, he's not telling her. They have more connection to that experience than she does. So like I said, my brain did like Larry said, my brain fought with this for a little bit, but then I went back to that scene, and no, she didn't know. I can see why you think they would, but you got to go back.
They have characters say things that they don't necessarily themselves understand the broader implications of, but the audience does.
Yeah.
That's
like
writing. That's
your
drama.
like your fortune from the fortune cookie that you were so hung up on. Same thing. That meant nothing to Pike, but it meant everything to the audience.
Hold on. Let me ask.
And you even acknowledge that was your whole point. So apply that same logic
I
to
still
this
agree with myself,
situation.
but I'm curious what Larry thinks.
He just told you.
I told you.
Why didn't you
No,
repeat it?
I was trying to make it clear in my mind. Cornwell is his superior, and she's also a mental health professional.
Thank God.
So I was kidding a while ago, but I could see it would have been cheesy writing to have introduced it that way. I was madly trying to remember. Yes, he said that to Tyler and Laurel, but they're like underlings to him, and she's Klingon. He wouldn't have told something like that to them, but they're old friends. She's a superior, and she's a mental health person. The same way that she sucked in Culber and got it out of him. They had a mini therapy session there.
In the middle of preparing for the greatest battle they've ever faced.
That was like 3 episodes ago.
Cornwell, could we take a minute because I need to process this experience.
Before it.
Can we process?
I've had bad relations with my father. Can we talk about that, Miss?
It was a strategic.
It's just not realistic.
Laughing about the chicken
Oh
nugget thing.
my God.
So,
Nuggets.
Matt Miller, what do you think about the Klingon coming in with the Beowulf fighters, with the Kelpians?
That was rad.
Did you feel?
We don't know that the Beowulf weren't there.
I want to know what the Australian people think. Matt Miller?
Speaking for an entire continent.
Yeah, he is. So.
Oh,
There's no pressure on that then.
Yeah.
Let's kick some ass.
Go for it.
Well,
Trying
I
to
mean,
look at you
there
right
had
side
to be a reason. It was a little bit of a, I suppose, in that episode, The Sound of Thunder. You think that the whole reason of the red signal is to encourage the Kelpians out of this subserviency, and then we find out that there was actually a deeper meaning to that. I don't know. I think it's a bit of a leap to go from the Kelpians that we saw to the Kelpians that we saw.
I kind of agree with you on that. I think it was a bit of a leap.
otherwise,
It was kind of
Like a kangaroo leap. I'm just kidding.
Look. I predicted last week that the
really?
whole thing with Tyler
he did.
was going to get Laurel and the Klingons to join the fight. I did not expect the Kelpians because that whole scene was like the scene on a Battlefield Earth where all these people suddenly finally learned how to
I never watched
fly
that.
F-4 fighters. It didn't make much sense that all of a sudden all the Kelpians have figured out how to use this technology when they were basically worshiping death before.
I don't know.
Can
it's
I
not
say
like
something?
Luke
Can I say
didn't
something?
get from the T-17 to an X-wing fighter within like a few hours.
Hey,
It's not.
Luke hasn't shown up
this
yet.
is why we don't invite Carlos to our Star Wars shows.
Well, the thing is that we don't know that the Baul were not involved with the Kelpians. No, but there's nothing to say that they didn't reach a mutual trust.
That's actually what I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's true.
Because to absorb that technology so fast, you would need assistance
Partnership.
from.
Yeah, it was a bit fast. I agree.
You need L. Ron Hubbard is what you need.
Well, and Sarah's line where he's like to his sister, "You learned how to pilot a fighter." It was kind of funny, but it's like, it's kind of fast too. I mean, you guys are smart, but they should have.
I think you're forgetting the kind of race that the Kelpians are.
They're aggressive.
They're really smart.
They're not smart.
Tasty.
Sense when death is coming.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that gives them a preternatural sense of what to avoid. Look, there's a photon torpedo. I think I'll go.
Yeah, but he kind of lost that when he lost the ganglia.
Yes, but we don't know what that morphed into.
Well, we only know that
into something aggressive, hence her being a pilot.
Yes, agreed. She
Yeah.
went from village priest to kick-ass fighter pilot.
Yeah, that's true.
but leadership was the streak in there somewhere.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
she's actually gone from priest to warrior priest.
And
It's a D&D reference.
Son, she did actually say the line, "Warriors of Kaminar."
Mhm.
Yeah, all I'm going to say is I got kind of a hard time with this. That's all I'm saying here. Do we know, by the way, that we only saw her, didn't we? Did we see any other Kelpians?
Well,
Yeah.
there were others, but she said warriors.
Wait a minute, hold it!
Mary, what's going on?
I only saw 3 other Kelpians on that ship.
Yeah, they could have been. The rest could have been. My point being is that the rest could have been.
It's a piece of the action homage. I'm sorry.
I got it. I got it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, sorry. I didn't want you to think I'd gone spastic. Okay.
All right.
At least not this time.
It's Spastic. It's fine.
So that's George's exclusive domain. You're fine. Don't worry about it.
No. What? You're evil.
Yes.
There's
He's a
nothing new
father. Of
about
course
that.
You're now the drive-in dude. Anyways.
So we've only encountered Burnham's mom twice in this entire season.
I have a feeling
Twice.
that,
That's
season
right.
3
I
have
thought
a
about
feeling
that too,
it's over.
son.
I have a feeling it's not over because she's jumping with the suit as well during
Yep.
time.
Well, they have to rubber band back to the 950 whatever 930 compensation.
30.
Look,
Okay, am I crazy, or didn't
Yes.
they jump to the
Yes.
same point where Burnham's mother is?
Nope.
Yes.
Didn't
No.
they-
No, they did
Well,
not.
It jumped
No,
earlier.
no.
Not.
But she
They
can
did
sense
not.
distortions in the suit. The suit
Oh,
senses
that's
time
true.
distortions.
Yeah, that's true. There's about a 20
What does that mean?
differential.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
It means
Oh.
that when someone disrupts the temporal ambient,
Did
the
she say this?
environment,
Did someone
she
say
senses
this?
it. Of course. That's what she says when she talks to Burnham.
Who's her mom?
Her mom, yes.
Yes, but remember, she no longer has a suit.
Yeah, but
She has a
Burnham
suit,
does.
but it doesn't work.
Burnham does.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you would have to have had a baseline for knowing that there's been distortions.
Burnham's mom has a suit. It just doesn't time
No,
travel
she
anymore.
doesn't actually.
No, she doesn't.
She got
The
yanked out of the
suit,
suit.
the suit,
Time is
and
not linear,
the
guys.
suit and Burnham's mom were both yanked back to the anchor point on Terra Elysium.
Oh, you know what?
Left of the
That's kind of
suit.
true. But they would do it
Left of the suit.
That's my point. Right.
Yeah.
I don't think it has anything to do with that.
see.
I think
Find out.
that Burnham chose an earlier date so that she would get there before her mom got there for the
Yeah, because also we have to remember that this is going to be an alternate experience timeline or whatever.
We don't know that either.
But we don't.
Nope.
No, I think she chose
Oh,
930 very
gross.
deliberately. You don't just throw out a number like that without there being a reason. And given that she knows that her mom went 950, she's going less so she can figure stuff out.
So let's talk about this.
Because
As we-
remember how many years was it between when Burnham is a child, then saw Burnham's mother? How many years was that? Wasn't that like 20?
Yeah,
That's
20
what
years.
Isn't that
Yeah.
weird?
That's what she was counting down at the end. She
Yeah.
even verbalized
Yeah,
it. She says,
exactly.
okay, now accounting for the 20 years of blah, 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 then I'm going to do 930. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
I
yeah,
like Larry's mindset.
very
Yeah.
deliberately.
It was written out there. So here's the bottom line. Did anybody notice the number of Spock's shuttle?
Oh no, I didn't. What was it?
It was shuttle 23, which rounding down is half of
46.
We were told no math.
Oh well, are you trying to do a 47 reference?
there was an obvious 47 reference somewhere else, but I just thought that was funny.
Because it's only 46, isn't it?
But 47 would be 23 and a half, so they rounded down.
Just making things up.
Damn it, Larry, you almost blew my
It was
mind.
close to 1 million.
Oh, okay.
Larry, I've got another 47 fact for you.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
It's totally unrelated to what we're talking about here, but Firefox has just come
What
up with a
else?
fun fact
How
saying
come all of a sudden you sound like God?
Yeah, you're booming it.
Well,
My-
because
Somebody needs to.
Matt just took a methamphetamine, just so you know.
my mic just crapped itself, so I'm back on the laptop.
Oh, okay.
But a mosquito has 47 sharp teeth on its proboscis. There you go, 47.
47
Dang,
sharp.
that's
That's interesting. Like one's in the middle, and then the rest there's an even symmetrical. That's
Larry, I don't know. It's just appeared here on Firefox.
And
okay.
we know-
You said 47. I saw you. I
it's on
thought
the
it-
internet. It must be true.
It's a red signal. It's a red signal.
Carlos even mom
Every time-
shames as he nods.
Every time Matt Miller sees Larry, he thinks of hibiscus on a
Sunseal,
Yes, sir.
give me a rating between 1 and 10. What do you think?
For the season overall or for the
No, no, no.
two-parter?
Too. Let's
Let's do both.
49
Let's do
Dodgers?
both. That's
This episode.
Whoa.
Okay, for the
47 was the year Jackie Robinson broke into the major leagues.
so
Let
for
her-
the two-parter, I would probably give this a 6.
Your mom.
Your mom.
What does that have to do with anything?
I'm just saying.
A 6 out of 5.
No, 6 out of 10. We have 10 as our game.
Are we
Wait,
rounding up or are we rounding down?
That's
We're
kinda-
rounding up. We're rounding up to 47.
That's
Okay.
pretty bad.
This was this. I've had issues since the writing room changed because, like, what I felt were major plot points of the story suddenly changed.
Or disappeared.
Like the signals.
Vanished.
The number of
Like
signals.
the signals.
Yeah.
At the
That was
very beginning of this season, all 7 signals are on a map in the Federation because they've appeared
No,
already.
some of the 7 signals are outside the main part of the galaxy.
Yeah.
That's right.
I was like, okay.
And it's
Sean,
like,
Sean, I can see
and
Austin.
it's like,
What
this
images?
is the one we can go to. Okay, cool. When the writing room changed, suddenly the 7 signals were something that were always in Spock's head, and they just had drawings of? What? So they knew that there was going to be 7 signals, but they were still on a star chart in Spock's drawings? What?
Wait, do you actually care about the plot? What the hell?
That's
Yes,
a little
but-
bit of an important point, though. And although I don't agree with you, son, that it was about Spock's drawings, because Spock's drawings were about the original 7 signals.
Well, no, I mean,
think
that's
the
the only
problem
way
is-
that I could possibly explain that they suddenly went,
Well-
here's 7 signals that we know are going to happen.
I think what they're assuming, and it would have helped if they told us this, but I think what they're assuming is that we saw those first 7 signals, and then we started seeing new signals one after the other, and the assumption being that we would see another 7. But they never stated
Oh,
that.
I-
They
yeah.
sort of assumed
That's
it.
what I thought too.
3 or 4
We left
shows
us to
in, I
figure
thought,
that out.
wait a minute. If they know there's 7 and they have this chart and they keep proudly showing this chart, why don't they just go to they don't know the timing, but why don't they just go to those 7 locations and sit
exactly.
and wait? And then I thought, no, maybe this is like Spock's imaging. He's put this together and that's what's... Because how did this all start? It all started the rumor
With the 7 signals.
the psych ward. And,
It was Enterprise had found the 7 signals. The 7 signals were found by Enterprise before they even knew that Spock was seeing them.
I need to go back and watch this again.
That's
But
correct.
there's a lot of convolution there.
There is.
We're the episode.
About what came from what, from what, from what. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a problem.
It's just one of those things that I go, this is important, and suddenly it's become this somewhat irrelevant thing somehow.
It wasn't
right.
irrelevant. It morphed into something else.
Yes. So, Larry, out of 10, what would you rate it?
Season and episode, Larry.
Okay.
Wait. The last episode, the 2-parter, or the whole season?
See, I'm gonna say this episode, but if you want to like give the
Combine them.
numbers, yeah, that's fine.
Do you ever say I hate doing this?
You don't have to do it.
It's like pick your favorite rock in the United States. It's like what? Okay,
Granite.
there's 4
What's
million.
that?
Mount Rushmore.
No, I'll say just
Donald
because
Trump.
on anything like this, I never give 10. I never would have given Nadia Comaneci a 10. I would say 8.5, 9. And I'm trying to reject the emotion of the moment and think what I may think 6 months from now. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Carlos, what about you?
Okay, so
Oh, you're going to
I
be
was-
all analytical about
You
it.
look like you're
A
jacked
little
up on
bit.
coffee.
a little bit. No,
What's in
I've
your
had
coffee
no
cup?
coffee. I was drinking water. Remember?
Oh, I thought
He's
you
just
were
saying-
That's
He's
vodka.
just standing on the. He's standing
Oh.
in a box. His ankles are hurting him, so
Yeah.
he's kind of bouncing up and down the bed.
Follow the yellow brick road.
He's really not that short in real life. Just want to point this out. Okay?
Thank you.
Hang on, I've seen a
You're
full
welcome.
body shot. Yes,
You
he
guys
is.
met me.
I like that Carlos thanks him after insulting him constantly during the show.
That's how we roll.
Because
here.
I love Carlos.
It's true,
That's right.
and I know he does. And I love his kids.
Yep.
So I ain't gonna say anything bad about him.
So out of
See?
10.
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, I'm kind of 2 minds here because there are what I think are a few serious plot issues, and we've covered them. Son talked about a big one, and so I have some problems with that. I read Robert Meyer Burnett's tweet and today, in which he,
I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah, he did not use kind words, but he's never used kind words with Discovery. About it essentially, I'm not going to use his
Gatekeeper.
word.
Anyways,
I'll say dishonoring the canon. I'll put it that way. Violating the canon, if you will. And I don't have a problem with that because I don't think that's what happened. But I have a problem giving it a super high score because there were those plot problems that were easily fixable. You know, a couple of scenes here, a scene there earlier in the season would have ironed those out, at least to a much better degree than what we're left with right now. So it comes down for me from emotionally what I felt at about an 8.5 to analytically how I feel, which is probably about a 7.5.
okay.
Because there was a lot I loved seeing in this episode.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Battle. I loved that they went in a few novel directions with some of the technology. I loved the Giorgio fight. I mean, there was a lot to love in this episode, and I did. But there was also some significant problems that I think I would be remiss in as being a critic in ignoring. Even though I say that, it's no different. I mean, if you held every other iteration of Star Trek to this same issue, to the same standard, you would have problems with all of Star Trek. Star Trek has had plot hole after plot hole after plot hole in episode after episode and movie after movie. So it's hard for me to be too harsh on it, even though there is so much I loved.
Sean, out of 10.
So I'm at 7.5 for the episode. For the season, though.
Wait, you went down to 7.5?
I said it was 7 to 7.5.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He came up.
He did.
Yeah.
From 7 to 7.
He did. He went a little bit on this. He talked
rounded
himself out of a...
I'm kind of terrible negotiator.
Yeah.
But for the season, though, I would give the season overall a 9 because
all right.
Because I think that if you take the whole story together, it's a great story, and I think it generally hangs together well in terms of what stories are supposed to.
Does it break that taboo of how Star Trek always needs season 3 to get on its track?
Star Trek has not always needed 3 seasons.
No, I mean since the era of TNG. Because ever since then, it took till season 3.
I think, and I've said this before, that I think it started out with the strongest first season of any.
I agree.
Of any Star Trek that we've seen since the original series, and I still believe that's true. And I think that the second season was better than the first season. There's a lot of people who because they like the second season, try to downgrade the first season. And I think wouldn't have had this second season without first season. So so I think together, I think it's a strong outing for a Star Trek show.
Oh my God, you guys, we forgot about the Culber falling back in love with Stamets scene.
Yeah,
there's 2.
Oh no, that's a good scene. It's a good scene.
Boy,
He didn't fall back in love with him.
What should we talk about? Should we continue to our ratings or talk about that?
Let's continue with the ratings.
I'll do both. Okay. I'm of the same mindset Carlos is. I want to rate these 2 episodes. Even though I did give last week's episode an individual rating, I want to combine this rating for these 2 episodes, just in the season. But I'm going to give it a combined total for the 2 of an 8. I agree with George in that it was the best, I think, season finale, and with Larry that it's the best of both worlds. It was, how to put this? This was, as we say, a cultural watershed for the Star Trek franchise.
Yeah, this
was a deciding moment. And there are a bunch of inconsistencies in the last 2, but it's like Carlos said, you can't if looking at the franchise every episode, there's tons of inconsistencies throughout it. So I'm really not going to nitpick too much because again, I enjoyed these 2 episodes so much that I overlooked it. I'm willing not overlooked it, but I'm willing to give it a pass on it. Yeah. And the fact that they set us up for such a great mystery for what's to come next in how they did it, I thought was brilliant. I will say this: I didn't think it was necessary for them to go down this road of we have to use all this exposition to explain why no one ever talks about Discovery and why no one ever talks about.
That's
Let
a
me
really,
finish.
yeah, we should talk about that. 'Cause that's a big
yes,
deal.
we should talk about that.
That's
I
a
agree.
bigger
Yeah,
deal
I-
than
No, I
everyone's
refuse.
name.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah,
Before we continue with the ratings,
I didn't see a need for them to explain.
I didn't.
Why.
I agree with you.
Let me.
Look at my face. I'm stopping and I'm letting you talk. Go ahead.
Okay, I didn't.
Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I didn't see them a need
Sean,
for.
go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Sean.
Okay, I didn't see a need for them to explain away why we never heard about the spore drive again. Explain away why Spock, especially explain away why Spock never discusses Burnham. We know why Spock doesn't discuss Burnham because he's a private guy. His commanding officer didn't even know that Sarek and Amanda were his parents until Journey to Babel. So okay, so.
Carlos, that's the first time you've heard this. Carlos, you're huge.
Wow.
Oh, I get it. That's a video reference.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
a stool.
All right. So I didn't think any of that was necessary. It was fine that they did it, I guess, but I didn't think everything was necessary. And it did kind of annoy me a bit. So solid 8 for both parts for the season. Solid 9, 9.5. I think this is other people have said this is the best single season of Star Trek I've ever seen in total, against all of them. And I'm usually loath to make such kinds of statements, but that's how I feel about it.
All right. Now, as far as you bringing up the whole thing about we just said
The epilogue.
How about if we finish the
Epilogue.
ratings and then we'll come back and deal with that kind of epilogue issue.
Well, you did make a good point, though. So, Larry, what do you think of that?
Well, how about we finish the ratings first?
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
a good idea.
And I've rated already,
Yeah,
although
all
I
right.
didn't do the season.
No, you're right. Sunsail, we
Yeah.
didn't hear your rating.
For the season, it's a solid 8 for me.
Okay. Season 8. I mean, sorry. 8 for
Second,
the.
yeah, an 8 for the second season. Yeah,
Okay.
The last 2 episodes together were combined 6 for me.
Okay. And as far as the. Go ahead, Sean.
Well, but real quick, I hate to interrupt, but here's the thing: I'm hitting the road again. I may drop off, so because of signal. So if I lose you, it's been fun, guys. That's all I'm saying. Thanks.
Your kids are the stuff.
Crossbar.
All right, so son, as far as the episode itself, go for it.
Well, like I said, I didn't rate the episode last week because I wanted to combine them because we knew they were a 2-parter.
Right.
And combined together, this whole thing is just, I mean, it's okay. It's something. It was something fun to watch. I still have a whole bunch of questions that really haven't been answered, but okay, it's a decent episode.
All right. Matt, what did you think?
Well, there certainly were some quality character moments in that last episode, and they're the sort of moments that make me roll my eyes and check my social media feed. But nonetheless, they're important to the storyline.
And I go when I'm confused.
Yeah.
And then there's the homages aplenty, as we've talked about. The motion pictures warp effect to Voyager and Defiance impaled torpedo in the hull with no quick fix. We learned why, as we've said, why Spock embraced the chaotic Kirk so well. Why Section 31 went underground. That Admiral's got to come back, surely. He's the leader, surely. And just why no one has ever spoken about the great fanciful ship that basically made warp drive obsolete. I mean, they broke warp 10 and didn't have to have lizard babies. Make of that what you will.
Oh my God, yeah.
I broke warp 10 once, and
Yeah, I don't want to do that again. My big question,
And my mom was so mad.
my big question out of this: Philippa Georgiou is leading the Section 31 show, or Michelle Yeoh is leading that show. She's on board. So how does she get back?
Yep,
to Section 31
that's the question.
Well, here's the
They don't
here,
start
let's
filming
talk
until
about that.
after season 3.
Right, exactly. That is the key. They're not going to start that show till after Discovery season 3. So that suggests that she will somehow come back to the 23rd century. So,
and as I said in there as well, it is
for the 1 month you didn't see her after the Terran Empire and before she died.
That only gives us 4 episodes, though, Larry.
It's a jam. Oh no, we're gonna go all 24 on it. It's gonna be
24. Yes, we can have 30 episodes in a season and be done with it.
It's gonna be called Section 31, 24 hike.
And they never go to the bathroom and they never eat.
Oh my God.
Starring Kiefer Sutherland as Jack Bauer in the 24th, whatever century.
For God's sakes.
And
Matt,
him
we
and
have you back, seriously.
and him
And guest starring Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
And Tim Russ is there, but he's not Tuvok.
Oh God.
And
Well, he
Taylor
played
Swift makes a
yeah, he's the human tactical officer on the Excelsior again.
No, he's not. He was a Vulcan on the Excelsior. Didn't you see that retcon?
No, he was a human.
He was in profile. You didn't see his ears.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Episode, I would definitely give an 8.5 out of 10. The season, I want to make a 47 reference in here, but I can't do it. Although if we scale it up, maybe I could say that it'll be 47 out of 50.
Why? You can cuss where you're allowed to. I'm just letting you know.
I'd say 47 out of 50 for the season, just to scale it up and make a 47 reference.
How about 9.47? 9.47. How about that?
The theoretical maximum warp speed of the Enterprise D.
There you go.
You need to make a fan film out of that somehow.
Oh, that's my other thing. Season 3 of Discovery, we need to find an Australian ensign on the lower decks. I'm sick of this American overrepresentation.
Yeah, he give you an descendant of one of the characters on your fan film.
Listen, we
It
might
would
have been the
finally
last
make
holdout.
Vegemite canon, right?
Exactly.
Hey, I gotta get gas. Don't complain.
Hey,
Oh,
Matt
sorry.
made a good fan film, so I'm just saying.
We might have been the last holdouts for the global government, but I tell you what, we deserve representation. If the Russians could get one in season 2 of the original series, where is an Australian?
And we had a Russian that came to TeamSpeak earlier and just decided he wanted
There you
to.
go.
Anyways, yeah, okay. So, and I don't know what to say. Okay, so I got everybody's opinions except my own. Oh, sorry, Raul.
You're missing 2 people.
No, I know.
A few.
I know. Raul, what did you think? 8 out of 10.
I would say that the original episode, the original 2-parter, together, 8.5, and I would give the total season a 9, just to make it quick.
Okay, that's pretty good rating. Who did I not include? Son, says you seem to know.
You've asked her 3 times.
Casey.
You forgot to ask the German guy.
Oh yeah, Casey.
I found this whole season on par with Galactica 1980. So
Even Starbuck.
Wow.
Even Starbuck.
See, you guys are going, wow. I actually enjoyed that.
I did too, especially
I
Starbuck.
enjoyed it as a piece of humor.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my God.
Wait, did they have
Starbuck.
did I miss the motorcycles in season 2?
Oh my God, he did.
Then it really is the JJ universe. And it is the hottest thing since
Those
Galactica.
motorcycles were awesome.
Let's not forget the dune buggies in Nemesis.
Oh my God. No. Let's start with the Galactica 1980 supercycles. I know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
We all know what he's talking about.
I don't think we all.
Christ.
that tone.
But George knows it's special.
Mm-hmm.
So I will. I think a solid 9.5 for the entire season. I love this season. I thought it was fantastic.
I don't even know who's talking
the finale. The finale was a good 8.5 for me. I enjoyed the hell out of it, so I did overlook certain things just to have that enjoyment. I think on repeated viewings, there'll be other things that pop up of, yeah, that could have been done better.
All right. And Raul, what did you think?
You already asked me.
I know, but I'm asking you again.
Just to see if you
how
lied
about-
the first
How
time.
about
Look,
Yosef?
we should ask Katie.
Season 1.
Joe, what do you think?
Season 1 was the strongest acting out of the gate of any Star Trek series.
Huh?
Season 2, standard episode was New Eden. I keep going back to that for some reason. I don't know why. And then the last episode, season finale, best since Best of Both Worlds.
And you're sober, right?
Yeah.
I think that was a perfectly great.
Yep, I thought so too.
analysis.
Oh
Pretty
my
good.
God, Matt!
Yeah.
What the hell? His pencil went up his nose. Anyways,
It's Slim Jim is what that is.
Trying to unlock his
I
brain.
hope so.
It's actually a HP.
Oh my
so we
God.
had a great season finale, and let me ask you this, Matt Miller, where can people find you on social media? I know.
Wait. We can't sign off yet. There's still a couple of things
All right.
to do.
Can't we? I've got to pee.
What?
If you do right now, it'll hit you in the face because of the whole upside down thing.
It's a video. If you want the video,
Oh,
not to show
there
it.
you go.
I mean,
No,
I have a pee bucket,
can we do a quick
While you're down there, Matt.
Can't you liquefy the deck or something, or magnetize the
No
liquid?
shit.
magnetize the urine?
Oh, please.
Larry knows what he's talking about.
So,
Look at Steak to Grill.
how about some of the?
Hey, Larry knows the physics of pee.
Yeah.
Rawls awake?
Yes,
Oh
I've
my
been
God.
awake.
Carlos, what were you gonna say?
How about some of the threads we thought were going to happen that didn't happen? I will start off
Oh,
with
the Borg thing.
the Borg thing. Thank God.
That was just a fan thing that took off, and I think that
Yeah, but you know what? I was really
it
with
amused them.
Such a
Like-
dumb fan thing.
We
too.
knew-
Like
No,
Yeah.
big blogs and news websites were writing as if it was
Yeah.
the thing. Like it was a.
I'm so glad they didn't
they're
happen.
just after eyeballs. Yeah,
Of course
Gets the
they are, but-
clicks.
Yeah.
Gets the clicks.
Yeah.
but I mean, but not the trauma centers. You met the legit people. Yeah, yeah.
Correct. I'm talking about like Screen Rant and
Yeah.
Verge.
You want a
Verge
snack?
was they
Do you want to get a
wrote
snack?
about it as if it was a fait accompli.
But where are we gonna get Arby's?
Would you have been upset, Larry, if it had turned out?
Arby's is close.
Yeah. I mean, some of these things became
Yes,
kind of
exactly.
memes, but the whole thing about the universe is too small, the universe is too small. It's like, leave it alone.
I want to know
Yeah.
when is Luke Skywalker going to Arby's?
I mean, he's coming. Coming.
You're never going to hear the end of that, George. Well,
You're-
unless he actually
I'm-
does show up on the Mandalorian.
When I'm right, you all are gonna apologize to me. You're gonna call me God. So. just
I
saying.
don't think we'll do.
I don't think so.
Apologize to you.
I don't think God is the right thing to call you, considering what I'm looking at right now.
Ah, shit. All right. Well, anyways,
And also, how many people thought we were going to go back to Terra Elysium in this season?
Me.
3.
I did.
Yeah.
I did too.
Oh, really?
It'll be next year.
47 people.
But it doesn't help that who was like you had interviewing people. You had interview people literally saying we
Stealing a
were going
car.
back to Terra Elysium.
Matt, on behalf of the United States, everything you're seeing Sean do right now, I'm sorry.
It's illegal.
I'm actually really surprised. To be perfectly honest, Sean has been live streaming his car ride and his trip to McDonald's and wherever the hell he is now in a car park.
Don't forget the Arby's request.
Oh, and the Arby's request. Now,
Oh, yeah.
Arby's
Exactly.
request and a Dairy Queen.
the one thing that I haven't
You weren't
seen
listening,
is the
Sean?
mass
You were
shooting.
listening.
Forget the Pike show. We need the Sean show. That's what
Yeah.
really. Yeah.
Kind of amazing.
And we
know
can call it
nothing,
Shaun
Jon
of the
Snow.
Dead.
Ah, Shaun of
and
the
guess where
Palace,
we're-
Dad.
And guess where we're heading? We're heading to another bathroom.
Oh, I thought you were going to head to Arby's. I've never been to Arby's.
Oh, that's a nice sign.
America's roast beef. Yes, sir.
Oh God, please mute.
The
Please
boys-
mute soon.
let's have-
I'm out
Let's
in
have
the hallway now.
letters.
This
Hey,
this
speaking
new thing that we're gonna do with
Is it-
Sean.
is it-
We're gonna call it You Know Nothing Sean Show.
Sean,
Okay.
Speaking of, wait, I want to talk about George's new look tonight. Anybody else think George kind of looks like Mel Gibson after the?
I think I look like. I don't know. I think I look like Jonathan Frakes. Come on, guys.
I want to know. I want to know why George's shower's been on all
Look,
this
I want
time
you
and
to
all
get
that steam coming in from the other room.
I just thought you changed your name to Harlan.
Oh, that's the light from. This is my dog.
Matt has
This is my dog.
We're not talking about the light, George.
We're talking about this.
I need I need George to say sugar tits. Just say sugar tits. That's all I want.
No, I don't know the reference, so I'm not going to do it. I'm
Matt,
not going to fall into your
I just think the Vaseline on the lens was a nice touch, but
Hello, Joe.
how old you are.
Vaseline.
Matt, who's your special guest?
This is
What's the?
oh,
Shower, Sean. What did you say?
For all of you,
These,
those of you at home not watching on video bar,
I take showers, my friend. What did you? What were you?
talking about? We're talking
you take
about
showers? I don't take showers. This is Keely, sister,
Oh.
Hello,
poking you with a
sister.
pencil. They say hi.
Oh, hello.
Howdy.
Oh, hello.
Hello, Matt Miller.
You're so nice.
Do that to me.
Oh, you Australian people are so cute.
it's like watching.
That's because
Mystery
everything else is
Mystery
trying
set
to
in
kill
modern
them.
day.
I'm an American. I speak English.
There's
Not
actually
really.
Okay, so here's one thing that I thought was weird that it disappeared from the season. Remember
Yes.
the whole faith versus reason
of the heart?
thing? I think that was a total Aaron and Gretchen thing that went away when they did.
I think so.
Oh,
I
and
agree.
and well, Spock addresses it a bit
Yes.
at the end, but
Yes.
it felt really shoehorned in. Like, oh, that's right.
This was supposed to be a thing.
Aaron and company put it at the beginning, so we better wrap that little thing up.
Well, it not only was
Never mind the
woven-
7 signals. We don't know where they came from.
it was not only and the whole thing of it calling it an angel and having the suit, having the art thing kind of vibe go that way, angel with the
Sure,
Mhm.
faith.
But I don't think it was like a nefarious thing. Like, good,
No. I think
they're
it's
gone. Let's get rid Let's get rid of that plot line. It was just they weren't there to
priorities.
shepherd it. So there's their mentor, the
Ooh,
religion
shepherd.
versus rationality mentor went away. So there was no one alive. Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, we could go on forever, but let's not because people can't.
But let's not.
It's only been 5
Do I have to pee?
Wait, we have
Okay.
to pay.
Hey,
Wait, I thought this is
John has to
What
pee.
happened to this cup?
Matt
Oh
Miller
my
has to
God.
pee.
Look at that. What is
I
Oh my
am I
God.
paying
can just
by the
leave you
hour?
with Keely.
You know, Sean, you've shown everybody going to the bathroom except you.
You're
He's a
complaining.
borg.
I
You
mean,
want that,
Wait,
George?
wait,
Do
wait.
you
Okay,
want-
okay. So let's actually start to wrap this up, guys. Let's start with Matt. So
Hey,
we
let's
can go
just
pee.
let's just calm down on the radical stuff, okay?
All this peeing. Not enough.
Okay, I've got 6 more hours. Let's just keep going.
Okay, so Matt, where can people find
that
you on
metric
the
or internal?
interwebs?
Wait. Sean, I appreciate your attempt to cut the show down, but Matt, where can people find you on the interwebs?
So the interwebs, well, you can do TrekZone.org on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Steam. I don't know, Steam 47 Portal. No, that's Larry. And of course, MirrorMatt86 as well. I've confused you. MirrorMatt86, me on Twitter. Go do that, and I don't know, do something. I might even take this pencil with me to America and.
Oh my God!
Shove it up your nose there.
I definitely want Matt Miller back because Australia is a cool country. So,
With lots of very patient people.
with lots of very patient people, like Carlos said. Larry, we know we can find you on Trekland. What is the exact area we can find you?
Go ahead, get one. That's fine. Get a toy. I don't care. Oh, is my mic on?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
There's a reason they call it a through line, and there's a reason why this show will never have one.
You know what? You are underestimating the editing power, my friend.
Okay.
God,
I
I
am.
hope so.
I hope so.
You can find me
My
at
God, I hope so.
LarryNemecek.com, LarryNemecek.com, at LarryNemecek on Twitter, Larry
It's fine.
Trekland on Facebook and Instagram.
Nobody's done.
Okay.
But there's a Portal47.net page and a Trekland Treks page also. And The Trek Files, my Tuesday podcast, is on Facebook. And Trekland Tuesday
Did you
Live
guys
is on
yell at or
Facebook
something?
Live at 1 o'clock on Tuesdays.
We will make sure to link all this. Matt Miller, you already linked us. Well, by the way, Matt Miller, TrekZone
Yes.
is where we can find you, but is there anywhere else?
Covered that, George.
No, I'm just asking.
Usually on the street corner making an extra couple of bucks to afford the web server.
All right.
Right next to his sister.
Well,
Oh, Larry.
See, if you're not watching the video of this, that's what you need to be doing, guys.
Oh my god.
I said that 5 times, but I gave up and I've joined the club. So okay.
Is it the club for men?
Maybe.
The hair club for men.
Apparently from the visuals, yes.
Carlos, where can people find you?
At the pharmacy, apparently. No.
Oh my
I
god.
need some meds fast. No, I'm. You can find me on Twitter at @cpedraza and at Aximonitor, on Facebook at the Aximonitor Facebook group and Aximonitor page, which is new, and on the web at aximonitor.com.
Casey, where can people find you?
You can find me at cagesandcollars.com or pony.edu.
Okay.
Being free.
All right. And
But as customary, your second one got covered, so I didn't even hear the joke. So it'll be in the transcript. It'll be in the closed captions.
yes.
Closed caption
For the audio.
Yeah. What? Yeah. It was Una, is what he said.
Oh.
I see what you did there. Joe?
Hey, don't speak for me, Carlos.
Yeah. Joe. Where can people find you?
So Linda Lavin was a star in the
Oh my
1970s.
God.
Hold on.
Alice.
Alice, and
Yeah.
she's currently starring in the show Santa Clarita Diet on Netflix. So check her out.
What?
Oh, he froze.
It's amazing.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, season 3, she shows up. Oh my god. Check it out.
Joe just plugged his ass.
I'm waiting. So they asked her, what's the secret of the Santa Clarita Diet? She goes, early to bed, early to rise. Okay. Okay.
Sunsale, where can people find you?
Well, do you guys want to get more of us in a group chat all together?
Yeah,
You can
just
find
do
me. You can find me on the Super Geeks
Boys,
Facebook
Stop
group.
here. Come on, hurry up.
On Facebook, just search for Super Geeks, and you should
Just
be able to
search
find
for-
us. Where
Okay.
we have the real Super Geeks.
All right. And Raul, where can people
Hey,
find you?
I'm trying to ignore Matt Miller's adorable dog.
What's
Listen,
that?
That's
Yeah, here.
listen.
Are you getting these?
I can be found at the Super Geeks the Facebook group as well as everybody else on the show, mostly. So thank you, and that's all.
Well, that sounded very kind. And Sean, what about you? If you want to be found.
More. I'll be doing a lot more trolling
Which is a great place to find him.
Yeah, it's like
You can find Sean near any weak Wi-Fi signal.
It's
Wow.
a gift. Gift.
But does it have a return policy?
And public restrooms.
all right. Anybody else I forgot? I don't think I have. So you can find us, Super Geeks, at syndicated at Subspace Radio, subspace-radio.net on Mondays. The schedule kind of changes sometimes. So just check the schedule. And you can also find us at TR Super Geeks. And that's on YouTube. And you can also find us on Twitter now, where you can find us at geeks_TR. And you
Or
can
the
also find-
real.
Yes. Stands for The Real. And you can also find us on Facebook at The Real Super Geeks. So you can find us on a few places if you choose to, and you don't go, oh my God, these people
Don't
are messed
accept those fake super geeks.
Oh my God. I want to thank everyone for joining us today for talking about the amazing season finale of Star Trek Discovery. I want to thank Larry for putting up with us and Matt Miller all the way over from Australia. Holy crap, kangaroos are real.
That's a bunny,
That's a
George.
bunny.
Oh my God.
Mofos.
Let the man
Oh.
go pee. Let him pee.
The man has to pee, people. We have to let him go.
Peace out, everybody. I have to cook
Let
dinner.
my people pee. Yes.
That
Oh my God.
Our broadcasting day.
Now, how do I leave? Oh, look, leave meeting. Bye, everybody.
So we will
Hey,
have.
I'll
We
tell you
will,
what.
Still there.
we will hopefully
Hey,
have
listen.
Matt back on again.
I'll pay good money if Matt can arrange for George to fight a kangaroo. I don't know anybody else. Anybody want to see that?
Wait. For me to what? Pete?
Fuck
Fight a kangaroo.
Fight a kangaroo.
Oh my God.